is Poland's finest. Game 1 winners from Becoming Legends, Cetis and Cammy. This team here has placed top 10 in every finals they have ever competed with together. But wait a second, hold that thought. And Asin Pink here on the other side of the Joneses. This is a fight that's being extended out. The last time we were here, Clix found an elimination with Duke. They actually held it off. Remember when we talked to Reeton at Big Whale, they said, hey, you know what? I believe in the fighting power of NA on this one. They have full confidence that they can do it.
Yeah.
Pink and Anas have to jump back.
Yeah, and you got to think back to that NA East Finals where Clix solo points after solo points, but as long as these two guys stay alive, they're going to be contenders for every single tournament they play in. Duke has FNCS champion in trios. Clix is one of the best individual players on the planet.
We have a huge opportunity here for Duke and Clix to continue to put up big numbers. We know they had an excellent kickoff to things here as they continue to find their strides. But things are going to slow down, and you know, you really genuinely expect this to happen, especially at a Fort Jonesies. This is not a POI big enough for two.
Yep, you see Clix just trying to gather the information. The longer this fight goes and the higher they build, if it comes to it. You got Jason Basil over on the side. Those are the third parties that we saw towards the early of last game as Nas Pink trying to get deep into the box. That Evo Chrome Burst AR. We saw how much damage it does to these builds, and it eats through in a second.
More importantly, if you can find a tag, just big. Like that, Pink and Anas already turning this story on its head here. That bait there, he sees the shotgun. That moment, Duke does not let it drop. Now, mind you, Clix has some of the greatest track record in history of taking on head-to-head battles like this. This is why he is so recognized as one of the greats of the space in these kind of moments.
This is where these guys, 66% of their overall victory royales do come from the low ground. The Pink and Anas, they're just trying to keep a little bit of elevation. They're not ultimate high ground, 3-4 boxes big. They're just trying to keep that advantageous position as long as they can. But this monster, this one's dragging out a little too long. Do you think there's going to come a point in time where they just kind of abandon and try to get to the zone?
Well, I hope it continues because the rest of the lobby is just taking their time. 49 duos are still alive here, and this is one of the only ones deciding to go toe-to-toe. Clix, once again, gets tagged there. And again, let's talk about the bad blood developing between these two. Pink and Clix were once upon a time almost duos, as Pink was so close to traveling to United States to play alongside them, but now they find each other on the other sides of the monitor here, going head to head. And I mean, looking at the HP so far, it's looking very good for Guilds NS and Tundra's Pink.
Yeah, and honestly, let's talk about this prolonged fight and what happens if they do actually split right now. They're not going to have a lot of time to go ahead and mat up, but a big shot coming out from Clix. We know what happens when this man has his back against the wall. His bite is much louder than his bark.
This is where Duke does tend to shine right now, these real scrappy types of engagements. This man does not tend to miss a shot. As now, they're looking. They know the enemies felt that on the other side of the wall, but hey, the longer they stay here, the less the less odds they have to actually survive. The longer story is, of course, making it to endgame. Let's jump on over, though, to our favorites of Miro and Booga here. Head-to-head with Z Andy, Joe FN, Bevy in the distance as well. There's so much going on here.
Yeah, for them, we saw that replay of last game during the listen-in. They were just dealing with Storm Surge, and not the best way. Even though they were about 50 above, that's not the position you want to be in. But you can see Booga and Mero have a 60+ win rate when contested. So they just need to find their rhythm here on this international stage.
Talking about international stage, Alex and Bailey, they have taken us from the player lounge to the main stage. Game 2 now, the fight, the second time. The story won't be the same. It's Yusri who finds the trade there, and now has to protect his teammate. A huge shot onto Bailey. It's not looking good for Oceania's champions here, but Bailey waits for the toe-to-toe. He gets the thirst, he needs the points. That's a kind of play you only see in person. A huge shot. Bailey says, respect me, Yusri, back up.
He has some heals to use, but does he have the time? Not finding a way to stabilize. Bailey's gonna get in. but only a sliver of HP, and that's why he's picking and choosing his fights right now. He's just throwing for piece control first, trying to heal up, getting as much shield as he can, but you can see he has no HP to regain, so that knock on the Jew is so important.
And he knows he cannot allow him to get the heal off here. You will not save your teammate if it's up to Bailey. Yusri may have the health advantage, but Yusri has his back against the wall right now. The defensive trade, a huge shot, and Bailey gets caught with his pickaxe out. Yusri clutches up, saves his teammate, and they are in game 2.
Sends him back to the lobby, but third place, NA West, Cool Yumi getting busy already. Elimination on the Watts. Now it's up to Rob Bob, trying to stay alive here, trying to get and find a position to where he can hide. You see it in the mini-map. He just got out, and I love that play coming out from some of these players, choosing not to be the hero, because you end up in the hero in the wrong position, you're end up going to be a 0.
Now, Robab doesn't have a lot of experience here. They've only made 2 finals together between Wox and Robot, but there's a huge development happening here. Let's watch this back one more time. Here's how it kicks off. Cool finds the huge tag. All of a sudden, the knock is there. And yes, there was a third party in the side. You get the reaction as well. You can see how fans are cheering in support of one another. But back into the action. Hellfire, Falconer, new duo, you know, pairing up with one another.
They already took down King, so this has got to be Ed coming out from Brazil. EU, NA West, trying to take down the region, trying to bolster their points, because right now the only points they have is that elimination onto King. But with Storm now covering and moving over them, Ultimate Team is now in the distance as well. It's going to become more and more dangerous.
Top is one of the only competitors, one of the very few left in our scene that has been here since the World Cup. He placed 5th in duos way back when. Wait for him to step up to the challenge and take on this first FNCS Finals ever together alongside Hellfire there from Denmark. But On1 and Baka, did they get the save off?
No, I think On1's there by himself. He's just trying to stay alive, and it does look like Larson and Smite might know he's there. And this is where On1 has to be very, very careful, fighting in the storm with very little HP. Larson knocking on the door, trying to burst his way in. You see the bait and switch come through, trying to make sure that both of these players have enough HP to take a big shot from On1 and continue that bait and switch, but he is on the run.
What a tough story for On1 and Baka. Such a great and strong showing in game 1. He loses his teammate to Mr. Savage out the gate, survives, saves them, but Smite and Larson, who are contested here by Looter and Muzz, are still in the zone, and they meet him, and that's how they get this first elim. So it's only a matter of time now as that clock rages on. Smite steps up, and there it is. The zone does the rest, and they will find their second elim now, wiping up one of the greats from NA West.
Now they got to go ahead and travel to zone, but back on board, Falconer and Hellfire, but let's just make it Hellfire because Ed was able to take down Falconer in a 1v2 situation. Now he's 1v1 versus EU. Brazil trying to stand up tall. Ed put the pressure onto those covers, but he knows when to pick and choose his fights. He hears the splashes coming out. He knows that's going on to Falconer. The shield keg as well. He's trying to stop as much of the heals from going through, but it does look like Hellfire is going to get 200 yet again.
Listen, Ed recently signed to Team Liquid, showing you guys why exactly he deserves to be here. He has had some of the most impressive rises in recent times on his region, but now he's looking to represent for Brazil and, of course, for Argentina. His teammate King, who is already down. Hellfire manages to lose his teammate. The wall gets taken, and Hellfire has to react quickly, but look at that. He does not miss a beat. Ed finds the siphon, and now it's an even exchange.
Yep. Right now, the 2 launch pads on the Hellfire. He can abandon this fight at a moment's notice.
Here it is.
Ed with no HP, it's all or nothing.
Here it
this is the moment you've been waiting for.
Here it is.
Coming through, and Ed 1v2s NA East.
Brazil and Argentina are probably standing on their feet right now. Ed clutches up a 1v2.
Oh my gosh, and if somehow, some way, he found a way to get King's card, but they're on over to Chonker Speedway. The action will continue. Reason and Aqua going up against Hen and Bevy and Vortexers. They have a lot of practice going against each other on the EU region, so this is no strange fight to them.
What's scary about this is the fact that they've rotated out of the condo down to the territory of Booga and Miro at Chonker Speedway. And yes, they get met with this incredible duo, but it shows you that no one is safe. This entire area is such a deadly play zone, and now you have Reason with the scraps, with his back against the wall, below the storm surge, absolutely ready to commit to this battle.
Yep, Aqua and Reason again, 140 below the damage threshold. And you can see all the players at the top of the damage threshold, but this is, again, what is going to happen at Cloudy Condos. A triple contested spot, but nobody is fighting. That's forcing these players to rotate away to find some extra loot and find the damage. And 165 below, Monster, I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't nervous.
Copenhagen Flames, Pablo and Swag on your screen right now, also below, but hey, a good little tag here of Elim for Swag right now, puts him in a nice position. They found a player out in the distance, Snacky and Fast have a window open there, focusing on the duo as well. So they're all looking to target Noah Riley and Bad Sniper. Remember, Noah Riley was eliminated very early to the hands of Edgy while they were landing, and he didn't even get to touch down before he was swatted out the sky.
And game number 1 winners, Cammy and Seti. They haven't even done much. They get the zone for now. They get the high ground, probably just trying to go for Surge. So that way, when they are forced to rotate, they only have to worry about that. But we knew they were down onto Surge. Now the Peace Control is trying to come over. They're trying to break into the boxes. It's now or never because damage is being dished. A huge shot from Aqua's onto Bevy, who's forced back into a defensive position.
Well, here we go. It's now enough in 20 seconds left before the Surge gets active, and they have to turn up right now. This is game number 2. Aqua needs these points here. Bevies manages to go ahead and chug splash his way down. He's back up to Vex HP. He's looking pretty solid, but Aqua not afraid by any means. Meanwhile, Reason finds a wall. That's an angle, but he doesn't like the defensive edit. That responds from Bevy and Vortexer. And now, here it is. Things are going to get dicey as the Storm Surge turns on.
Yeah, look at them. You see 30 below. Even though they're continuously dropping, they're doing damage. Seti getting one on a Peppo, probably sending him back to the lobby as Scram goes down as well. Acorn found a way to get rebooted, but Deja Vu strikes. He goes down again to Epic Whale, who honestly is having a much better performance this go around.
But back into the action here. Reason now down to no HP. Aqua is also on the defensive stance here. Down goes Reason. That's a huge shotgun shot from Vortexer from the side. If you blinked, you missed it, and now Aqua has all the pressure on his shoulders. He has to back up. But Vortexer playing smart, respecting the GOAT of EU. Aqua here, our World Cup duo champion, is now left as a solo. Clock's ticking here, the pressure comes in. Bevy's looking for any angle. These are all enemy walls here. One false move and it could be it, but the Surge is gonna hurt Aqua again. He gets to heal off and no, he gets finished. Vortexer finds the second.
500 above the damage threshold. This is only their second FNCS playing together, and they're looking like they are longtime teammates already as Joe and Z, Andy, uncontested over towards Synapse Station. Looking to get some damage as well. Even though 79 is above the damage threshold, you know as well as I do, that is absolutely nothing.
Nixon and Arthur here. Oh no, they're gonna find a huge elimination there. Another Surge fight that's going down. It's attracting the flies in the distance there. You see folks starting to look over. Arthur has a decision to make. Does he push in again? They barely have anything. They've used all their heals. One tag is all it's going to take for take them out. Oh, Grolls claps back, though, and that's a huge punishment there. And with the downed body, he says, you know what? I'm going to full finish here. I'm back in this game. Artur takes off running for the hills.
That was a much needed battle by Grolls, and I like to play again. You cannot be a hero in these lobbies as Mustache. Looking like he's having a little bit of trouble here. 202 above the damage threshold. It's, 2 eliminations already, so they finished this fight, but you can see the teams on the outskirts of Rocky Reels. They don't want to let this be an easy rotation to one of the deadliest teams in the lobby.
The launch pad's already down. Malibu and Mustache cap off HP and hit it. Off they go. It's Chicho and Trulix who are looking in. These guys have gone head-to-head so many times in the past, and you know there is all types of bad stories waiting to unfold in front of us. But Chicho and Trulix don't get the Elim. They manage to hit the ground running. Malibu and Mustache are waiting here, though. Oh, yeah. Time to fight back.
Malibu just trying to break through. He talked about in some of those interviews playing a little bit more passive than what he's used to. 2 eliminations. I gotta think they're trying to pick and choose a lot of their battles, but the lobby is putting such a focus onto these 2, getting them to expend so many resources. Malabuka has just about 60 to 70 HP as well. Mustache is trying to do what he can to try to find a stabilization method here, but it's just happening from so many different players who have so many different angles.
One thing that is working, though, is the zone. It pulls pretty close to all the players nearby. Finally, things settle down. Tayson and Chapik's last game found the same duo on the edge, but let's jump on over to the west side. Let's get to the opposite side. It's Thomas HD and Trip Burn. What a great standing so far here, looking pretty solid. They have Janice and Badil weakened nearby. Bugha and Miro are also making it much further this game, looking like they've adjusted, learned from their last mistakes, but here we go, that familiar story, 3 above.
Yeah, and you can kind of see in the circle is, the zone is literally in the center of the zone. So I don't think there's going to be too much of any slow side for a lot of these teams to try to travel to. Is Miro taking a couple of shots, but the team that went off spawn trying to have a much better performance. Mr. Savage and Eyedropper under siege, under pressure. Mr. Savage is going to get dropped for now, trying to pass on the resources to Eyedrop because he knows he's going to have to deal with a lot.
That Blu-ray on his back here. Eyedrop has to step up. Savage is down. Can he do it? He's been in so many finals with Mr. Savage. His 3rd appearance now in a big setting like this. But of course, the first return to in-person, they're going to allow. Marine might actually allow him to get the pickup. Whoa, that is a huge mistake there.
Yeah, a huge mistake. And honestly, these are one of those things that you take a picture, you record this moment right here. Mr. Savage went down. You give a player like that a second chance at life, they will make you regret it. But they're trying to launch pad away, trying to find some sort of safety. Sticking box to box, hip to hip, landing on a couple more resources as well. This is a perfect spot to land at for Eyedrop and Mr. Savage. That way they can replenish some of the lost resources.
Such a massive find right there. It was looking like it was all over for a moment. But there, they get a little lucky. Smite and Larson at 4 elims now. It seems like as all the action, as all the cooks jumped into the kitchen, they have managed to walk away with a successful meal or 2. They're looking pretty good.
4 elims, like you said. Clown Ref Scar just a little bit above him. Just check a sneak peek at the leaderboard. Cammy and Seti still holding on to first place by 7 to Asia's Barim and Zagu. 151 above for the NA West. 3-time champions, Favs and Snacky, sitting in a good spot, trying to gather the information. But Badil and Janice are under pressure. With Badil down, 56 below the damage threshold. Shots from Thomas HD to take down another EU powerhouse.
And in the distance, Japan is just lurking nearby. Asia has performed so well. Remember, Mareem and Zagu are in 2nd place as the most recent FNCS champions of the Asia region. Easy and Vino, though. Big story in front of them. This is a team that we have expected to come out so far ahead of the competition, as they have had one of the more dominating tracks leading into this, taking home a multitude of Elite Cup finals where the competition, as we know it, is extremely tough. Meanwhile, Smite and Larson, battle's breaking out above them. They get to steal the loot here. That's a great find.
Yeah, that's a huge find for them. You get to upgrade some of your inventory, get some more heals. The Chroma Splash probably going to be used a little bit later just to get that rotation to come through. For them, they found a huge amount of resources. That way they could try to make it towards the next end game. But you see Storm Surge just still affecting so many teams.
Tough spot to be in there for Larson as he misses the heal. And Anas and Pink go down from the high ground. It's Vortex in hand. They are just turning this lobby upside down right now. Queasy and Vino are back at it again, though, in this end game here, trying to find a position. Now remember, what they did in the last game was exactly this. Half in, half out. They say, hey, we're gonna play for high ground. Vortex says, all right, you can have it. Hen says, you can have it. I'm going to low.
Yeah, I gotta be careful here. Queasy and Vino both know 6th moving zone, which is about to happen here shortly, is one of those zones to where, yeah, you might have the high ground now, but with the amount of launch pads going around, the amount of threats that are in this lobby, you might have to stagger your teammates 1 forward, 1 back, just to make sure nobody is able to sneak it away.
Oh, this is looking like a tough situation right now for our champions, Mareem and Zagu. Once again, leading into this game, 2nd place. No heals. Very, very peculiar spot to be in. This zone pulls far south as well. Now, they have some mats, but they will absolutely need a refresher right now. Maybe even a gifted launch pad from a team in the distance. All around them are so many healthy players. On the other side, Vino and Queasy starting to eye up the lobby, size up the rest of this game here. Bugha finds Mareem in the feed. There it is. The full finish is going to start to come through. The first elim for Bugha and Miro.
This is where I'm looking at the minimap right now, seeing where it's actually going to go. There's different elevations. I think whoever is able to grab a side of that mountain first will have the best chances to win this game overall, as they're still 500 above the damage threshold. Cammy, as soon as he lands, he's going to get back up to 200 along with Seti as well.
Kanata's still alive in this game as well. Keep an eye out for him, but Seti and Cammy have to defend their lead right now. 3 elims, what a way to do it so far. Meanwhile, Queasy and Vino are still on height. This is one of the toughest end zones as well. Flutter Barn has so much varying terrain. You have to be careful. There are indestructible, large stone monuments in between you and your rotate.
Kanata going down, leaving Macwood as a solo. They at least got 1 elimination, so they don't have to worry too much about damage in terms of Storm Surge. But Bugha and Marrow, as it does shut off, you saw they were well above it. So changing up their strategy, and it's paying off handedly.
The pacing is incredible right now. Only 19 duels remaining. Things have really taken a turn here for the worse for most. Reed's gonna get burned and turned back to the lobby there as he falls, but that's still well inside the top 20. Meanwhile, Vino on high ground, looking very comfortable. No resistance. Larson and Smite are making up for where they left off. They may have not earned a huge game 1, but a great game 2. And now Miro and Bugha are fighting back.
Yeah, 2 of the big NA West powerhouses going down. They're trying to get another elimination, but Bugha and Marrow, huge shots gonna be fired, but Miro's getting tagged back up. He needs that Cypher to go through, but it's still not gonna be enough. PH then does go down. Bugha trying to be that IGL. He's trying to lead him to greener pastures, but he's running out of resources. Macwood falls. High ground though. Does Vino and Queasy still have that position onto the high ground of Smart and Lawson? They're not ultimate low, but they found themselves that perfect middle layer.
And you'll notice Bugha is now left by himself. KVR finds his teammate Smite and Larson on the ultimate low. Hen and Vortex front side firing back and on height. Vino and Queasy are looking like this is a fairy tale game for EU once again, but we'll see if NA can step up to the damage. Let's see it. Hen is going to be punished and now hunted down. Smite doesn't find the full elim here, but my gosh, already at 6 eliminations. Meanwhile, we jump over. Sentin and Cole still alive here. This is where they do best. Like we said before, it's bread and butter. They know how to stick hit to hip. They have to now. Cole is hurt.
Multiple top placings out of this duo. Not wanting to fall short here today, but Cammy and Seti from high ground to low ground. Another end game is going to be achieved. True Lex gets dropped. Smite's going to go ahead and lend that helping hand, trying to steal away all of that loot, but the zone is just immediately chunking him out. 4 HP and a dream for Smite.
And a huge end game right now in front of Smite here at top 5 unlocked before him. Cammy goes down, Seti goes down, and it is all his here. And now he fights back, but the zone does the rest. Great game there, but Vortex is now by himself. What can he do? Cole and Sentin now have the high ground. They have turned the story around.
I don't know how they sold it away, but Kitos is a solo as well. High ground versus low ground, but it's a 2v2. Sentin and Cold versus Vortexers and Hen. This is going to come down to the wire monster, and this is going to come down to Sentin and Cold when and where they drop down low.
Once again, we are looking at an NA versus EU finish. Cold is going to get big tag there by Vortex on the low ground. 7 elims, no builds. It's looking very, very tough, and it's the same story for Hen as well. It's all or nothing. Can they find something here? But Sentin and Cold, although they have the height, they are also running extremely low on resources. But if there's a team that can do it, it is them.
Yeah, you see them trying to go back outside of zone, trying to find anything to work with in terms of Hen and Vortex. Sentin and Cole to talk about. It's up to them when and where they drop down low. The game is definitely in their hands. They just have to close it out. EU versus NA East. This one is just a prolonged long game, but the damage is in from Cold.
And this is what we talked about. That wall, there's nothing you can do. It's all or nothing. Down goes Cole. Sentin's hurt too, but they have the angle. They're going to wait this one out just for a little bit and allow the zone to do the rest. Cole finds the one, and Sentin finds the other. NA takes game number 2.
You look at that. The passion, the emotion coming out of Sentin and Cold. A team from NA East. Honestly, I don't think they got the right respect coming into this event because of what happened to them last season.
That's right. Cold and Sentin have been here before, and now they get a victory in person, on stage against some of the best we have ever seen. And what a way to do it. EU Game 1, NA Game 2. It looks like the stories are tied.
Right there was perfect because you heard me talking about wanting them to drop down low. I want to see what they're thinking, how they're feeling. Kelly, let us know.
I am joined here by Cold and Sentin, and you guys, what an incredible run. You got to tell me, though, how did you take height?
So Queasy and Vino just dropped on our sidewalls, and we insta-edited and just Shot him.
I mean, obviously a great strategy, right? But I mean, that final moment there, how did you know how to take them down? Obviously, you guys were kind of in that high ground, low ground fight. What was the final moment like?
Honestly, cold called to just drop above him and sit there. I don't know. He did most of it that game. He played really well. He's the GOAT.
All right, man. Well, congratulations. You both are the GOAT now. That is Game 2 VR for you guys. Let's head on back to the desk.
As EU picks up the first game of the FNCS Invitational, NA strikes back and says, nah, not like this. Cold and Scented, really quickly, I do want to touch on this. At the start of the show, we talked about possibly taking your shoes off as a form of being comfortable. Taco, you're right.
It's a legitimate strategy, man. Anybody that has played competitive will tell you the same thing. It matters, but more importantly, what matters even more so is that jump in the leaderboard positionings that we are seeing happen now for Cold and Scented. A 41 placement jump. Granted, have to keep in mind that it's still a little bit of ways to go, but they are now breaking into that top 10.
Gosh, these leaderboards always seem to surprise me because even after this incredible game from Cold and Scented, they're still 34 points behind the leaders in Cami and Seti, who, shout out to them for holding the lead. But this is just so good from Cold and Scented. And this is the moment that we missed right here. This is the one that Cold was talking about. Queasy and Vino actually make a play. And this is actually classic for them. I've seen them do this in Elite Cups where, they try to quickly pinch a duo that is in these builds, and it usually works out very, very well, but Cold and Scented hold on very, very well, as Cold mentioned, making that instant edit, getting the shot in, and ultimately they realize Queasy and Vino were the ones on height, and let's go up and take it. And this right here, it's just all about riding the zone. Now you can see the zone point up there going right through the mountain, and Vortex just had no chance after that. Clean win from Scented and Cold, who, as you can see right there, what we were referring to, Scented, no shoes.
It makes all the difference, man.
It does, apparently, as proven by Scented. We do have Adam, who is standing by. He's hanging out with a player. Adam, who?
That's right, I'm hanging out with everyone right now, in particular Smite and Larson, everyone. Smite, that was an incredible display just then. We saw 7 eliminations. You clutched up, you had to. So how imperative is it in this situation, in this environment as well, that you have to try and gain as many points as possible, even when your teammate goes down?
It's really important. I mean, you need to get as many points as you can. Every point matters. Doesn't matter.
Now, you're being contested as well here, Larson. Muzz and Luta, they're looking like they're fighting each time. Are you guys up for this? How are you managing to deal with that when it comes at you?
We're down to fight every game, and I don't care, bro. I'll fight them every game.
You don't care, bro. They'll fight them every game. Give it up for Smite and Larson, everyone! Thanks, boys. And also over here, I'm delighted to be next to Peterbot and Jamper as well. Jamper! It's been what an experience being here in this situation, this environment. How are you guys dealing with the rest of the regions being here, competing with you in the same lobby?
Our original strategy hasn't been working, so we're gonna have to make changes into the next games. But it's very fun playing here. The crowd is amazing, and I'm happy to be here.
And there's still 10 games left, plenty of time to do that.
Yes.
Okay, you got this, you feeling confident? I'm feeling confident for you. The crowd are feeling confident too. Let's hear it from Peterbot and Jamper as we head back to Zeke and the desk.
Thank you so much for that insight coming out of the players. This is kind of what we've been talking about, right? The question has been, once all of these regions finally meet head-to-head on the island, what will happen? Will strategies hold? And the answer for some is no. Because who knew that having to adapt to a meta that is completely different than your own region that you've been playing for several FNCSs now is going to be very difficult.
But if it's anybody that has a strong head on their shoulders, it's going to be Jamper. He's been around for so long, and I love to hear him listen, we did the same strategy in games 1 and 2. It's not working. So let's just switch it up. And I love the fact that they are just able to kind of, have that mentality, but then also have a backup strategy. That's what's really important.
But that's just part of what it means to be part of the 50 of the best duos competing here for the FNCS Invitational title. But not only that, while they might be working on some changes, Cammy and Seti are a duo where if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They have been maintaining this first place position throughout the first 2 games, and it's definitely a very strong performance here out of this Polish duo. more importantly, I think that Cammy and Seti have just been able to consistently stay working throughout this mid-low ground element, despite the fact that we've been seeing a lot of high ground takes and a lot of high ground play from the close of the lobby. I think that Seti and Kimmy did a great job just holding on to this underside congestion control.
You know, we talked about it after game one. It's like, whoa, Kimmy and Seti are on high ground. This right here, this was more so their style, where it's just like, you know, we're paying attention to the high ground changes that are going on. And then all of a sudden, we load up the leaderboard, and it's like, okay, they had 44 points after game number one, and now they're at 77. They just got 33 points that game. When did that happen? You know what I mean? Like, they love to play these games where they don't like to show up and show out. They just consistently get those points. A couple elims here and there. They're not popping off the elimination feed, but they're just so consistent. And those are the type of games that are scary because, you know, we saw a great performance out of Fortnite Sensitive, but still, even after game number two, they're still like 30-odd points behind because Cammy and Seti are playing so well.
And it's the competitive experience, I think, that also helps them with understanding, hey, even if I've lost my duo partner in this moment, I can still hold on for moments longer. I think that that was a great display there, that closing kit there for Seti and Cammy. And I think that ultimately, they're going to probably just keep trying to stay consistent here.
Yeah, I mean, one point we tuned in, they were 500 above Surge. I don't know how that's humanly possible, but for Seti and Cammy, it's just another day at the office. Let's talk about Queasy and Vino there. They did get edited on, right? And listen, we have, as the viewing audience, we have the much larger perspective, right? For them, in this opportunity, this was the only chance they had, and we're going to start to kind of figure out what happened.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, throughout these replays right here, we can maybe catch some insight into why they actually ended up dropping down, because it seemed like they were getting refreshes. I know they specifically got one right at the start of, you know, moving zone number 2. So it looked like they were chilling on mats. And again, right here, as you can see, Queasy actually only 2 builds up. So that was the call. Let's go try to get a refresh real quick. Unfortunately, Cold and Sentin, they're so good in box fight situations, especially Cold. I mean, you know, Sentin picked them up just because he is such that well-rounded mechanical player. And Cold and Sentin, you know, one thing that I love about them is they're always on the same page, and it's always incredible to see. And right there was one of those situations, unfortunately, for Queasy and Vino. But I love that out of them, right?
Hi, welcome to the live.
What is going to make the difference on the international stage?
As far as the ideality is concerned, Queasy seems relatively confident still in that decision. 2 times over now, we've seen this duo go for high ground by the time that first moving zone actually comes into play. And maybe 3rd time's the charm here for this duo.
All in all, though, the high ground strategy is working, right? Second place right now, only 4 points behind first. So just keep doing their thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like, especially looking at how many eliminations they had, man. 5 eliminations, 5 refreshes, and that wasn't enough to take them through that game. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Cold and Sentin back on them, 44 points, 6 elimination, currently sitting in that #1 spot. Again, 2,800 damage dealt.
That's my favorite stat.
At game 1, we saw it was 2,200, and I thought that is an astronomical number.
Yeah.
Cold and Sentin said, hold on, one moment.
So we're going to see, you know, hopefully we keep seeing those stat lines, because as the day progresses, teams are going to get more and more aggressive, which means that this storm threshold is going to progressively go up, which means that teams are going to need to do more and more damage. So hopefully we'll see, you know, maybe we'll break into the 3,000s for an individual team, but yeah, 2,800 damage, that is a lot.
But entering the halftime point, essentially, because heading into game number 3, if there were ever a time to look for a shift in strategy, like what we heard from a couple of duos earlier, I think that Peterbot and Jamber, they had like the right idea. They're like, hey, it's not working out. This is where you would want to make the adjustments, is heading into game 3.
Let's find out. It is time to see who will rise, who will fall, and how they will adjust to these games. This is game number 3 of the FNCS Invitational.
And just like that, we are already gearing up for the next round of action.
Yeah, game number 3 right around the corner, but 2 exciting games. Battle Bus is ready. Not long to wait, because game number 3 starts now.
Now we're moving at my pace. Let's do this. Take a look at your screens. Take a look at these players. Someone here will walk away with it all.
$200,000 for first place. A trophy unlike ever before seen in Fortnite, and a chance to call yourself one of the best in the world of Fortnite, not just your region.
And it looks like we have a very similar bust to last round. That means these northern contested teams are going to fight first. One of the biggest things we saw from game 2 was that early elimination onto Noah Riley. Edgy quite literally, took him out before he can even touch down. And then, of course, there's this battle here, a battle of who can get the best drop. And what a great way to kick things off. Such a powerful loadout to really start things here.
Yeah, and it does look like Baka and On1 making yet another adjustment. They win the off-spawn fight in game 1. They lose it in game 2. And this time around, they're not even contesting for a fight, but blink and you might have missed it. A first elimination is going to be on to Looter, so Smite and Larson are finding ways to get things done again.
And A fires back first onto OCE here, and a great find, a great reward comes out of the very little time Larson and Smite had to loot up there. Take a look at these loadouts. It all comes together for them now. Sometimes it's all it takes, right? Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of luck. You get the right loot, you're able to take that fight, that fight nice and fast and clean it up.
See, now the picking and choosing comes through. They're going to slow things down, try to loot up as much as possible, making their way in towards one of the only houses towards Grim Gables. And you can kind of see in the distance, Muzz is still floating around, and he's not trying to cause too much commotion and put the focus onto him. He's just trying to wait for Smite and Larson to leave so he can try to get that free reboot onto Looter.
All this pressure onto Muzz's shoulders now as he is trying to wriggle his way through this low ground here. He knows that material is going to be the key to allowing him to do something big here, achieve the unthinkable, win a 1v2 against Smite and Larson, who built their entire reputation this last chapter off of these early game fights. Smite wants none of that. He walks to the wall. Muzz, you're great, but how good? And no, Smite and Larson come out on top. They clean things up for 2 games in a row now and earn themselves a little bit more.
And as soon as Mr. Savage gives up a little bit of the high ground on when Baka immediately trying to take it over, him and iDrop are separated just a little bit, and that could have been a perfect opportunity for them to strike. But everybody is just biding for time, biding for that perfect moment so that they can pounce. And this one that we talked about, you heard it from Mr. Savage, you heard it from iDrop. I've been landing here for a year straight. No one is going to scare me off.
And the real question is iDrop walling out right now? He's getting very close to On1 and Baka. But no, now he decides, all right, I'll listen to you, Savage. I'll come on down, but you have to meet me down here as well. And they start to retreat here. And this might just end, but no, Baka steps up, but Savage is so quick. What a shot right there. And now he turns the tables around. iDrop looking to meet them down here. A great pre-fire, but not enough to find a tag. And all of a sudden, now they reevaluate.
Yeah, I like the outside of the box thinking coming out for a couple of players in the game already, bringing out their protractors, trying to find that extra angle. And that's the thing, if you have all that confidence in your teammate as a solo, you'll allow them to kind of play with the angles, play with the high ground, and try to see what they can get. And they get 149 damage, disappearing off the back of On1. Another shot's gonna be fired. Hey, Rob goes down. It's a 1v1. Mr. Savage versus On1.
Savage wants none of it. He wants none of it. He finishes it up. And just like that, 2 games now, he's back in it. Meanwhile, Malabuk and Murstache, one of the greatest duos we expected to show up today, put on such a performance, have been met with so much resistance every single turn. There's a new great team waiting for them. This has been probably their least favorite duo to meet, though.
Yeah,
Chapik and Taste.
It does look like they're fighting over the vault that is right below him. Doesn't want to let that one go easy. But you got to be careful because there's a 3rd team landing towards Cloudy Condos, another team towards the north in the form of Kanata and Macwood that could be lending that helping hand, trying to get that Storm Surge damage for themselves and make your job that much harder for Malabuk and Mustache. It's all about trying to find the perfect angle, trying to find that information so they can try to catch a player off guard, because we already know they're one of the most aggressive teams in this lobby.
See it. They're waiting, trying to capitalize on any opportunity here. We all know what Tayson is capable of. One of the most winningest players in the European region. He has done it all. He has proven it all. All that's left is for him to show up in person and put the numbers up. But it's no easy task right now. Malabuk and Murstache are so good. playing defensively right now. They're doing a great job, but Tayson is slowly, inch by inch, getting closer and closer.
He won't let that piece control go over. Tayson has tried a few times, but you try again. Eventually, you'll find some success. They're able to take it just for a few seconds, but the longer you fight this far out of zone, it's going to get more and more dangerous because we got a little bit of a north zone going on. These guys are going to have to end this one sooner than later, even if they both choose to disengage.
Merstash fighting back here, trying to regain the walls here.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Huge tag on Chapik there, nicely done. He's gonna open things up, allow him to get some more territory, and closer he walks with Tayson, fights back. The 4X FNCS champion is all of a sudden now with his back against the wall here. But no, he's hurt. Malabuka says, forget that. It takes him down, and now it's up to Merstash, and no, he finishes it off too. And Chapik is left running, trapped now, inside the box. Oxygen starting to run out. He fights back, but for how much longer? Chapik does so much damage. He loses the wall, and no more shield now, and it's all over. Chapik and Tayson fall.
And for Malabuka and Merstash, that is huge. Because not only does it get you elimination points, it gets you the Storm Surge, so you don't have to worry about it later in the game as Chimp and Scram trying to get things going for them. Chimp, one of the most consistent players in NA East. You got Pamsu and Batch on the other side, also from NA East, so they have a lot of familiarity in terms of fighting against each other. Scram is going to be the odd man out, and you see him trying to find some separation because him and Chimp are not that close together. And all it takes is for both of them to kind of bum rush into one box and kind of end their run.
Now jumping over to the other side of the map, as we all know, this area, one of the most hotly contested zones right now, Tilted Towers, at every single in-person event, has always been the home of fireworks. And Chicho and Trulix are looking to go ahead and see what they can spark up nearby, but that's not going to be anything. On the other side, NA West, cooling Yumi. One of the few teams on NA West showing up in the top 10 so far.
Yeah, had a fantastic game, #1, 3rd place. Cool, got to be living on a prayer right now because for him, he 1v2'd. Unfortunately enough, he was unable to get Yumi up in that game. He had to finish it off as a solo. And for this duo, it's kind of slow and steady. They land out here towards the island, a little uncontested. They might have one team just a little bit south. For them, it's about getting the resources, looting up, and then they go on the top of the Mighty Monument to find their surge before they eventually try to rotate out.
Robob and Walks now, stepping up. They're chasing down Peppo here.
Runa's already gone, too.
Of course, Runa, yeah, way off in the distance.
No, he's gone. He's out. He's watching.
Uh-oh.
This is going to be good. Bob. Forced to kind of in a defensive position. Walks trying to alleviate some of that pressure. Peppo doing all he can. One of the best in his region, but the wall does look like it's going to be taken. Walks with a huge shot. Runa and Peppo go down in 45th place.
Tough spot to be in for Runa and Peppo. One of the few representatives for the Asia region have now been taken out. Cold and Sensen on the other side after a hot win there are now positioned up dead center, and it seems like they have done enough. This villain story that we've seen unfold over the weekend, contested in the lead up. Malabuka and Mercer, still problems on the horizon. Could it be, of course, Booga and Mira, who were looking off and picked them off?
I knew they were going to go on top of the Mighty Monument to try to get the Storm Surge, but great minds think alike. Peterbot and Jamper from NA East beat them to it and took down one of the players from the NA West Championship duo. It's going to leave Cool by himself yet again, but how many 1v2s can you take?
This is Peterbot, though. Put some respect on his name, and he makes it look easy. It's just like that. Jamper and Peterbot earn themselves a huge elimination onto a team inside the top 10. What an Elin.
And for them, you got to think Peterbot and Jamper don't have to worry about Storm Surge in the immediate future, but you know how active this lobby is. They got to start thinking about it later on in the game once they find that rotation.
Well, listen, we have Mini Miner here to update us on more action.
Thank you so much, Monster. Now, this is a prime example as to how to finish a fight quickly, right? We know PH Scene and Ketos are fighting in the middle of the map. They need to finish this fight quickly, and look at that. Pinching from both angles, getting that Storm Surge done early, as well as bolstering their loot. Look out for this team for the rest of the game.
And that is such a huge set of elims there, because that's another team that is huge, like honestly showing up for the Brazilian region. PH and Ketos, man, wait for them to just really show out. You know, the discussion and lead up to this entire event was things are going to be easier. you know, let's not respect these guys. And now all of a sudden they're saying, hold up. No, hold my water, hold my mini shield. Let me show you what I'm capable of. And I am so impressed by what we have seen so far.
And you're seeing a lot more activity in this game than the previous two, because they're starting to fill each other out. They're realizing how hard it is to get Storm Surge later on in the game, so they're trying to get it as early as possible, so that when they end up in those close zones, they're boxed up, they can pick and choose when they have to peek, instead of Storm Surge saying you have to go or you're going to go back to the lobby.
Vidal, no stranger to victory royales, but falling very much short so far. You saw the standings there, 4 points separating first and second.
Yeah.
Still a very much competitive competition, but EU has taken big strides to start leading the pack here. Pamsu and Fatch are solid, but let's get on over to Clix and Duke here. They have had such an uphill battle fighting their way out of the Joneses against Pink and Anas, and we've already seen it has not been easy for them.
35 below the damage threshold. For them, they have to worry about it, yes, but it's such a low number. They're just trying to get ahead of a lot of the rest of the teams, so that way they can easily try to look back. And the shot still coming in from the high ground. There goes Duke trying to poke a couple of shots. He finds some good damage, but takes some as well. Going to be above the damage threshold, so once again, they can find a way to kind of rotate forward. And I want to see them do that now, because history says when Clix and Duke fall behind the zone, they somehow find a way to kind of not have those good games.
I think the player base tends to forget, the scene tends to forget. Clix has also competed in the World Cup for solos and duos. This is where it all began for him so many years ago. And just look at the difference now. All grown up here at the international stage, still competing at the highest caliber. Remember Reem and Zagu, similar stories. They've been putting in work for a very long time, but look at this, tough right now. This is the worst we've seen them.
Yeah, we're pretty active in game number 1. Trying to do it again in game number 2. Game number 3, 164 below the damage threshold. The lucky thing for them is not only are they right at the edge of zone, they have rotation right above them, they have elevation right above them, so they're going to be able to kind of lay their eyes on the land and try to find the shots. With Bevy and Vortexers under siege yet again. Luckily for them, they're 153 above the damage threshold, so they can pick and choose. Do we fight this here? Do we kind of wait a little bit longer? And it looks like they're just going to peek, try to get even more surge, and hunt down these teams as Vortex takes a huge amount of damage.
Vortex versus Vortexers for a second there. Don't be confused. Two very different duos. Kanata and Macwood, though, are alive right now. We've seen them put up some exceptional performances today so far, especially in that game 1. They were the upset to Bugha and Miro. Game 2, not quite where they wanted to be, but this here is a chance at redemption. They find Robab and walk on the edge of zone. Malabuka from the Storm to the new safety of the zone. It's not looking good, though. He has lost his teammate.
Yeah, early games, they were below on damage, not getting too aggressive. And you see the A's duo taking out Brazil as well. King went down, but that's Jason Basil above Malabuka. Do they know he's weak? That is the biggest thing, because if they know he's a solo and they know he has a total of 86 HP and shields, you know as well as I do, they're probably going to go, but that's information that they lack.
Well, don't yell too loud. Let's go ahead and jump into Bad Sniper and Noah Riley right now. They're starting to eye up the competition on the other side of the wall as well. You can see they're just looking, but hey man, there's something about these extremely healthy builds. You know, no one really wants to fully commit a full mag inside. You have to start deciding for yourself. Are they in a world of trouble? Can I actually do it? And Bad Sniper says, instincts speak louder here. I want to step up. I want to take this fight right now.
He heard Fab's shield get cracked by Storm Surge, and he immediately looked that direction. Bad Sniper and Noah Riley coming out with a vengeance here in game number 3. Right around the corner, though, you got to watch out. Cammy and Seti is there, but back on board this fight where Malabuka is still alive by himself. Jason Basil, they're trying to attack right now, but Malabuka doing a good job. He's doing everything that he can. Pressure from so many angles. Is he going to be able to escape?
Let's see it go down. Jason Basil have an incredible win rate in these close game battles in the early zones, and look at that. All of a sudden now they add to it, padding the stat, making it look nice and solid. Clix and Duke thought about it. They say, no, OCE boys, you got it. I'm getting out of here. And that is so much respect, because they are so far below the surge as well. They could have easily stood there and fight. They need it more than anyone.
And
as to, oh my gosh, our game leaders, Seti and Cammy, are actually below the surge. This is so bad for them.
They just need to be able to find a position front side of zone, but they think it's the less traveled, but there's so many teams in front of them. 3 directly on the right, 3 directly on the left.
Oh, no.
1 is behind them, and it's hot on their heels. That's Noah Riley, that's Bad Sniper. He was shot by Cammy, box to box, he's knocking on the door. He wants to finish this one off inside of Storm. Nobody really having HP to kind of regenerate, and Cammy and Seti go down.
And Bad Sniper gets to represent for France. They're taking down our Polish duo alongside Noah Riley as well. Way to do it there. Switzerland has to be happy, but let's jump on over to Rezon, who is, of course, representing for the EU side and Germany. But let's see it. Aqua looks for something. He's got Duke in his sights for Duke. Claps back, and Aqua's hurt. He loses Reason, but Aqua manages to find a 2-for-1 special and cleans things up.
Yeah, Duke was getting chunked out by the zone. He had 2 players hot on his heels. It's not the exact position you want to be in, but these guys can show up at any moment in any game. But for them, they're down 3.
And 1 shot, 2 elims, a very rare occurrence.
When you're that good, you're that good.
That is true. Here's an acid pink. We already know. Now, their biggest problems are down. They're out. Kitos and PHN, here they are, looking to continue to hold their position. They're 100 above the surge. They are just around that top 5 position leading into game 3, what is almost the halfway mark of the competition. And Brazil could not be prouder to have them representing here.
I see jumping on board, Rob Bob Kabab, who's already down. He is out. Chimp's going to be able to get 2 more points in the elimination for himself, including Storm. Surge just walks. He has no shield. He has no HP to regenerate. Just 50 HP total left to his name. And those 2 launch pads. But that's also what worries me, is those 2 launch pads, because he has a far rotation to go, and he's going to have to probably use both of them with short pads in order to get there.
That's right. He's looking to go ahead and make that move. There's nothing in front of him. Meanwhile, Miro and Bugha, decisions for them as well. How do they want to move out? They hear the launch pad go off. They say, hey, let's save ours. Come up here. Let's go ahead and recycle that. Can they find it? There it is. They do get it. And they go in the opposite direction. That is the difference in strategy. Miro and Bugha go right. Closest way of least resistance directly to the zone. Wax stood far left.
And that probably would have been the saving grace, because he ran into Aqua and Reason, who immediately took him down. His threats is going to fall as well. Pablo gets taken down to Brazil's Kitos. Alex going ahead and taking down TSM Reed. So much action going down around the lobby as Bugha and Mero trying to find that sweet spot, because you know as well as I do, as long as they make it to end zone, those eliminations will naturally present itself.
This is a team that has struggled in the early instances of the chapter this season, but they have managed to find their way into such a great position. But now, let's jump on over to some of the GOATs. Vino and Queasy, 2 elims already poising themselves up for an excellent game here. Near max material, so they have to be coming just off of a fresh refresh right there. Quite literally bounce them back in the game. And man, you don't see this very often, where it's your drop spot where you start off and the zone just lands directly on top of you. So they are being served up.
Yep. And right now, for an end zone like this, when it is on your drop spot, you already know how to traverse every piece of terrain that is around, as Kitos still trying to do wonders. Not a lot of HP on PHN, so these guys down on damage in terms of Storm Surge have to figure out what they're going to do, because if they wait too much longer, they will be down. They will be out.
Well, here it is. Luckily for them, the threshold is met, and they do not have to fight, but they know what's in front of them now. They have a huge monumental task to step up here. And you can see there, that's a wall that cannot be built there. Here it is. So it's all or nothing now, right? We know the Brazilian region to be one of the most aggressive. PHN is literally tied for 3rd for the most FNCS champions individually in his region and globally. So that's a team that has everything to play for right now. But jumping over to Zaku and Mareem, they're still alive right now. Some of Japan's best are here.
Brennan Thomas HD, one of EU's best as well. And honestly, one of the fan favorites to take it off. 296 above the damage threshold. Joe and Z Andy right in front of him. Piece control is going to be important towards this end game, because if you go into the wrong box at the wrong time, they're going to take you out, and they're just trying to gather that information. They know they don't have far to go as the shot's going to be fired and landed onto Hen, who's dropped down to about 50 HP. And with that, you see other teams taking notice, and they're also putting that pressure on
chillin has full trust in his teammate, but their Elim gets sniped up right there. It's Zagu and Mareem who are just coming out and literally reaping the benefits, taking all the spoils. Edgy and Acorn have high ground right now. What in the world? An excellent game. 1 second place finish, leading into game 3 in such dominant position right now.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people last season saying Edgy can do it on NAEs, try to be the 2 region champion. What would you call that here? Would he be the 7 region champion, 8 region champion if he wins this?
I mean, at this point, he's looking to break that second place curse too. He wants to make sure he gets one for Queasy and Vino caught lacking. Don't forget, they were the most stacked duo in this lobby. This is their home position, the drop spot of Shiny Sound. And now all of that luck and hard work, preparation out the window.
Yeah, it was 2 different teams, one from Asia, one from EU. They actually got an elimination each on the team as Scented and Cold trying to get to that front side of zone. They have that victory royale in the last game. 32 above the damage threshold. Luckily for them, not too many players have to go down before they go ahead and have to not worry about it. It's Aqua, Reason. Not too much to worry about in terms of Storm Surge, but they have to find that sweet spot in zone. They're going to use the launch pad to get there.
When you see Reason and Aqua looking up, you know there's only one thing in front of them. How can we take this high ground? Chillin though has a problem in front of him. He gets punished. He backs up. Great defensive maneuvers right now. Okay, and Thomas takes the lead. He says, hey, you go ahead, pause down, heal. I'll continue to tarp out. We have the zone right here. See Andy and Joe, even with a messed up finger, Joe is not gonna allow him to stop playing for the big positions right now, and he's got this high ground. It doesn't even look like it's been affecting him at all. Yeah. Look at this, 3 Elans.
He had all the mats to hold on to that high ground with 7 moving zone, even if it's contested. Reason A and Aqua trying to fight for it, but they're going to get stuffed. They're going to get shut down for now, and you can see the pressure from Joe and Z Andy. They're looking towards the backside of zone, and they're putting shots on players who are suffering the Storm Surge.
Oh, he goes for the low pad. Aqua wants to get down to the low ground here. No reason to play for the builds. He doesn't have enough to make it. Is Reason behind him is the real question. Meanwhile, another endgame for Kitos and PHN. They have 4 Elans representing for Brazil right now, and they are almost inching their way to the top 10 right now, but Cold and Scented are right in front of them. This is where they do the most work. This is where they play best.
Yeah, they're just recycling a lot of those builds towards the low ground. Chillin trying to take that cheeky shot to the backside of zone. Elevation up. Thomas HD probably leading the charge, making sure that these guys are on the same page through and through. Booga backside of zone. 2 men miss. He's just trying to go ahead and stagger himself out, and he found an elimination on the Jew. More HP for him, and look at the resources he found.
And it's huge right now. He's managing to fight his way through. He finds another one there in the zone. A huge tag is going to keep him alive right now. And look at him start to sprint here. But no, he's hunted down and taken out back by Thomas HD. And all of a sudden now Thomas has all the extra refreshes here, but he's starting to run out. Is he going to go for low ground, or is he going to continue to hold out here? Reason has a decision to make as well. Off to the side he goes. This player's in front. Cold is down. We saw that exchange. It's a big one.
Yep, he's just trying to stay alive. Reason's doing a good job staying ahead of zone. And now he just has to man-minute stuff to find a way to stabilize. It's Thomas HD. He's trying to stagger himself towards the backside of zone, running out of ticks onto that man-minute. A huge shot's going to be fired. Thomas HD is trying to stay alive, but he goes down. Zagu from Asia strikes again.
It's just not enough. Zagu says, I am here to play, and put some respect on us. Scented is going to fall to EU Scram. And again, Zagu is now by himself. Chrome Splash comes out. He finds his teammate. Does he get the save? Now this is what you want to see. A big save here in the ultimate low could change the entire story.
This could be huge for Asia. This could be huge for Zagu and Miriam. But Joe and Ciani, they have the high ground.
Oh no.
He wasn't able to get the revive off. This is going to be huge. He's the only solo left in the world of duos.
Oh no, but he knows that's enemy build. He goes up, the side jump. He has enough. He takes high ground, but no. Ciani's here to back up up. He goes for the falling shot, doesn't quite find it. Chimp and Scram, Healed is going down, and they are having an opportunity here, but no. Chimp does not take advantage. He is now by himself. He has lost his teammate. Can he find a steal of points here? He's looking for it. Zagu jumps to ultimate low. Jim's trying to time his exit, and he gets caught out, and down he goes. Z, Andy, and Joe now have 8 eliminations and a win set up potentially in front of them.
Yeah, 2v1 situation. EU versus Asia, and for Zagu, this man has the world on his shoulders. Just a sliver of HP, a little bit of shield, and it's not going to be enough. Joe and Z, Andy take game number 3.
EU claps back once again. It takes game 3 with the big win finish there. But what a performance for Zagu and Marine to show up. That is an incredible way for them to go ahead and make a statement today.
Yeah, incredible indeed, because it's all about consistency, not necessarily getting a victory royale in every single game. If they can keep this up at this pace, it'll do wonders. But for EU, Joe and Z, Andy, they take the game and they have all the momentum now.
And this is what I love about in-person events, because they get to take that walk straight to center stage, and we actually get to hear from the competitors. What a treat for us to really dive inside the minds of these players, right? To understand what makes them tick and how they find the success. Kelly, please give us the update.
Joined here by Z, Andy, and Joe. Everyone make some noise for our Game 3 winners. So I swear, I was watching the game and I saw Acorn and Edgy had height. I turned around, looked back, and then you guys had it. How were you able to take it?
We just sped it up and cleared 90 to the sky limit.
It was absolutely incredible. Not only did you get the VR, but you also walked away with 9 eliminations, I believe. Is aggression a big part of your play style?
Yeah, we want height, just spraying down, getting kills.
So from now on, are you guys going to be going for height every game, or is it mostly circumstantial?
We'll see.
Yeah, and how are you feeling about the remaining 3 games today?
Feeling good after that game now.
As you should be feeling good. Everyone, one more time, make some noise for these 2 right here. Thank you guys for joining me. Enjoy your break, and we're going to be heading on to the desk.
Joe and Z, Andy, victory royale in game number 3 of the FNCS Invitational. A huge way to show up, and not only the victory royale, but accompanied by 9 eliminations. Tokata, that's what you want to see on this stage.
It's what you love to see, right, Zeke? Those big VRs that boost you up in that leaderboard. I mean, we saw Queasy and Vino dominating the high ground in the first 2 games initially, but Joe and Ziandi now showing how it's done, not only securing the VR, but also with a good amount of units.
And you know what's more impressive, right? This is a very, very north zone. These guys land all the way down to the south, down in Sound Up Station, just before the zone started closing. It was 5th zone, I believe it was. They had 3 eliminations. They sorted out their Storm Surge early on. They got the materials, and they were able to take high ground so effectively. I like the way they played it too, Takara. They were playing one up front side, one up back side. No one was getting up there.
I love how they've adapted. They were actually originally going to be contested by Baka and on one in the Synapse Station, but now having it uncontested, they have to figure out how to get that damage, you know, before the late game and not have to worry too much about those rotations, but they've done it, and it's showing.
Looks so good here, especially to finally be able to kind of, to get those wheels moving, right? To get these players finally in that place where they can say, look, okay, Game 1, regardless of what has happened in previous 2 games, we're all ready to go. We're ready to put numbers on the leaderboard. Let's take a look at said leaderboard and see how things are shaking out. Remember, we have another 3 games left today. We'll be back tomorrow for the last 6. Queasy and Vino now tied with Meram and Zagu. And I just gotta say, the international teams here, Japan, Brazil, y'all are showing up huge.
This is what you love to see from an international event. Queasy and Vino were fan favorites coming in from EU, but now seeing Meram and Zagu tied for that first place spot. Remember, Queasy and Vino, they got knocked out in 6th zone this last match. They had a very strong first 2 games, but this 3rd one was not so strong. But if you want to get that first place spot, you have to stay on top, and that is what the duo from Asia is doing.
Yeah, and things were looking peachy for them, right? They were picking up eliminations, they were looking good, they had the materials to go for their classic high ground take, but unfortunately, it couldn't quite work out for them, right? They were just getting sprayed from all different angles. Maybe it was a positional issue, maybe Queasy might have to take blame for that, but you know what? There's still plenty of games to go.
You gotta hope that they can just make the adjustments, right? It's fine, they're still in first place, right? Even with the situation, they go down in 21st place. In that game, they're still in first overall in the leaderboard. But for right now, why don't we toss it over? Adam is standing by with Vortex. What's he got to say?
Thank you very much, Zeke. Here, actually, Hen was just complimenting me on my. I smell a candy floss or cotton candy kind of smell I'd love to take credit, but it could be the points you've scored thus far. Second place in Game 2. Hen, how are you feeling after the first 3 games of FNCS Invitation?
Not good enough. Obviously, we got second place in the second game, but the first and the third game weren't good enough. And hopefully we can fix that after the break. Yeah, that's about it.
I mean, Vortex, coming into this competition, you say it's not good enough. Do you set real high expectations every game? Do you set certain things you must do on a game-to-game basis each time?
Yeah, we did okay the first 3 games. First game I did a dumb mistake, and yeah, we need to fix it.
Gotcha. And I think when it comes down to this competition as well, playing against the rest of the world, there is a pressure, but there are still 9 games to go.
9 games to go. That sounds like fun.
That sounds like fun indeed. Thanks very much. Massive shout out to Head and Vortex. Let's head back to Zeke on the main stage.
Just kidding, Adam. Surprise for you here. It's actually me, Vivid, on the stage. Shout out to the players. Game number 3 is done. Into the halftime we go. Some of the players will have an opportunity to make some changes, just like Bugha and Miro have. As you can see here, some of those early games, the Storm Surge wasn't necessarily looking in their favor, so they're actually going to go ahead and make sure to prioritize some of these tags before they're even fully loaded up. Miro right here has a pistol, and he's still making sure to find those opportunities in that early game. Now, of course, this is something that we love to see out of Bugha and Miro. This is something that they usually do. Move just to the north of them over here at this area, set up on this hill, and find plenty of tags throughout this early game to make sure that they are set on Storm Surge. And they actually sit up here for so long that Hen and Vortex are not even expecting them to still be up there. And they get this nice sneaky beam in here to make sure that their Storm Surge is looking good. And then listen, this is the adjustments I was talking about. Look at this. Bugha and Miro sitting all the way back in the storm, knowing that Malabuka and Murstache have been making this late rotate with the balloons as well, make sure that they get some Storm Surge tags on them as they fly through the air. He does get the knock, ultimately doesn't find the elimination, but the adjustments are being made, and that's what we love to see. Now let's check out what Zeke has for us.
Thank you so much, Vivid, for that breakdown. As we come back to the desk, we have a very special guest joining us here on the analyst desk. It's none other than Cypher PK. You guys can give it up. I mean, we all know Cypher is pretty incredible at everything he does. I mean, you can hear the fans absolutely losing their mind. Cypher, how's it going, man? Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. How are we feeling so far about these games? The first 3 underway, done. We have 3 left. What are your thoughts?
It's been exciting, man. We've seen some crazy changes, right? I mean, we went into it kind of having expectations. We thought, we thought these teams were going to do well. We saw the Queasy and Vino, of course, still doing very, very well. But some of the smaller regions, some of the maybe lesser-known players have turned up today. It's been great to see. We've seen changes in strategy, of course, as well. Some crazy zones that have really put these teams to the test of time.
It's what you love to see, though, right? In an international competition like this, teams from all over the globe popping off, right? I mean, the leaderboard right now, I saw some predictions coming into this tournament, and they did not look like the leaderboard is reflecting currently.
Yeah, that's right. We are back here on the analyst. Sorry about that, Cypher. I forgot to turn on your mic. That was on me.
It's all good. It's all good.
Play. Welcome. How are you feeling now that everyone can hear you?
I'm feeling great. First Fortnite event since World Cup, and you guys blew it out of the water.
That's awesome. What are you thinking about the competition so far? How are you enjoying the games?
Well, it's great to see some of these players in a LAN environment, and because there has been one in such a long time, a lot of these players, this is their first ever in-person event. So it's a completely different kind of shock when you're playing in front of a crowd and you hear the cheering and roaring. So some of them are veterans, some of them have LAN experience, and that is going to benefit them, but then the rest are kind of here for the first time.
Yeah. Is there a duo you feel like you're following? You're like, yo, I'm vibing with this duo, and then maybe one that you're like, yo, these are the ones I think are going to win?
Well, the duo from Japan, I'm glad to see a small region pop off on an international level, so I'm kind of rooting for them.
That's right, dude. Zago and Maron, they are absolutely, it's weird too. They're just running around, and it's wherever we look, their action, they're just there. They're just hey, there's action over there. I want to be there finding eliminations. Who are you hoping to see change things up as we kind of move into the later half of the day?
Well, there's a lot of off-spawn fights happening right now. You got a little bit in Joneses, a little bit in Tilted Towers, and whoever's just on the bad end of that, I want to see some adjustments from them and see if they can like put aside their ego and just make the right play, maybe land somewhere else or change it up. I mean, there's some spots on the map that might still be uncontested, but you know, you're looking for that scrap loot and trying to make it to end game. You might not want to make that change in the middle of the tournament, but it could be beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, you are pretty much known as like one of the guys that can adapt to anything, right? Think back all the days of like, I'm going to build a tower here and I'm going to throw a million traps in here and, oh, it's a convenient launch pad. Do you maybe have advice for some of these players? Maybe things you would hope they kind of like consider as we now have that time to kind of collect ourselves?
Okay, so my biggest advice, I mean, as someone who's played some of the pro-ams and in-person events, my biggest regret sometimes is just not going for it. There's like a little bit of like panic, a little bit of nervousness on some of the plays. You got to really just get into that mindset. Like you're playing at home. Like if you can get into that mindset, play very comfortably, like you'll make plays and people will be shocked by it. They won't expect you to make those plays.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have like a favorite moment that has happened so far? Like anything that stands out like, yo, that moment was wild.
I mean, I've seen some crazy 1v2s, which is, I mean, just think about this lobby right here.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about the accolades that these duos have and the amount of FNCS championships. It's insane. I would not want to be playing against these guys. So to do a 1v2, and we've seen a few already, and I think we're going to see a little bit more going on, that's super impressive.
Yeah, I mean, watching a lot of these 1v2s happen, like, kind of like to what you're saying, it doesn't just happen, right? Like, it's kind of like walking up to professionals of your equal caliber, just be like, I'll just 1v2 you guys in front of a live audience, kind of casually, no big deal.
Look, it's a feeling that's unique, though, especially in an in-person event like this. You hear the crowd cheer when you get that clutch, and it's exciting. But I'm curious, Cypher, we've seen multiple duos from Brazil right now in the top 5, in the top 10, a duo from Asia tied for first place. We've seen a lot, but I want to know, are you what do you want to see that has not happened yet? Let me know if there's something that you're looking forward to happening.
Well, I guess one thing that I did want to see was some of these smaller regions pop off, and we're seeing that with Brazil and Japan. And I think like some of the less conventional play styles and duos that people don't know about showing up on the main stage and doing really well, like that kind of shakes up the scene, and that's what I wanted to see. And we're seeing it live, and then you're also feeling the crowd react, and they're rooting for some of the underdogs as well, which is great to see. So it's been a blast.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I mean, seeing all these players here together with each other as well, getting to interact, how important do you think that is on a player level? How important do you think it is to, like, you know, have some friends, make some communities, and enjoy it?
I mean, it's so important on a player level, but even just from a competitive standpoint, like this is esports, like competing in front of an audience and you know, having that pressure on you and still performing and still doing well. That is a true testament to what kind of player you are, in my opinion. If you win online tournaments, that's great, but this is the true test of skill.
Yeah. Cypher BK, thank you so much for your insight, brother. It's great to have you here in person. Fans, if you see him, make sure you say what's up to Cypher. He's one of the coolest people you'll ever meet in your entire life. The players are currently on a little bit of a break as they collect themselves, so why don't we go hang out with the casters, Monster D-Face and Jacob PR. Thank you so much, Zeke, there for, of course, introducing us. Now, listen, all that hype about what your favorite moments, look, I want to talk about what I've loved the most so far. Let's talk about how this script has been flipped way upside down. Not a single person expected, I think, what we've seen today. And for me, the Brazilian region, Ed in the 2v1 situation there on the outside of zone. Wait for him to clutch up. And then PHC and Iquitos coming through, putting up incredible performances so far. What a way for them to represent for the entire Brazil region.
I like how you're going for a region that isn't necessarily the most talked about. No EU, no NA at all, neither one at East or West. And I'm going to follow suit. I'm going over to that Asia region. I want to visit Japan one day, and I hopefully get to meet Zagu and Miriam. These guys are lighting up the leaderboard. They are putting on a show, and it's a show that I don't think anybody expected to see. And they put every single competitor on lobby on notice. We are here. We're here to contend. We didn't fly that long just to come home, which is $1,000, 50th place just for a top 10. They want first.
And not to mention, they are coming off the heels of being the champions of their region. That was a big part of the entire story as to why we began rooting for them from the beginning, because we have never seen such a gathering like this before.
And it's only their second. This is their second finals appearance. That one championship, that was their first time playing together. They have 100% win rate.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And you guys get to see some of those highlights right there as well. Just coming through, performing, playing these end games, and doing it in a way that not a single person on the internet that I follow expected. I can tell you that.
No, and that's exactly what I want to keep seeing, though. And I want to see also the TSM duo, Re and Epic. Well, I need to see them really step it up to the plate and to begin to knock it out of the park. But am I necessarily surprised? Not necessarily, because they do have slow starts, but they have great finishes.
Well, that's right. That's a quick temperature check from us. Let's keep this thing going.
Thank you guys so much. Fantastic insight just all the way around. As you can see, we've got a lot of empty chairs here. Our players, after the first 3 games, have a moment here to collect themselves, go back to the player lounge, talk amongst themselves, potential coaches there, whatever they need to do to kind of recollect and prepare for the last 3 games on the day. Now, earlier, we had a really cool moment. We got to listen on between Bugha and his duo and kind of hear what was going on. Well, guess what? We collected a few of those for you guys that you might have missed during the game. So check this out.
Nice! Juvik.
You see clicks on them?
Yeah, they're here.
Let's see. Raiding the thing.
They slid. They're running away. I'm gonna go towards them and get some search, okay?
Okay.
Go to the pond and farm.
Come down. I have 2 bit. And I'm trying 3 more. 1v, 6 way. One drop.
Let's go up. More HP.
Dead.
No!
Lucky.
Nice try.
Wait, running in. Getting surge. 48.
Break.
5, 150, 250. What about you? Say it again. Sorry. That's
5, 2, 5.
Okay, awesome.
Come. Come. I have no meds.
Yeah, I have like 2 builds.
Together, come. 3, 2, 1, go. Ready? Let's.
We needed that. Let's go.
If you're looking to get into competitive gaming in any space, comms are vital. Understanding, keeping comms clear, even if you're panicking, don't freak out, don't yell. Just say, hey, this is what I got going. As I throw my pen apparently. I was way too excited. I threw my pen. Guys, I wanted to kind of take a moment here as our players are recollecting themselves. We see a few sort of make their way back on the stage as we prepare for the next set of games. What are maybe a few duos you guys feel like might be under the radar? I love that our cast was kind of touched on Zago and Merrim, right? We've been hyping this duo up from Japan. And for me, I'm thinking to myself, bro, this is just like a team from Japan. If there was more Japan representation at Invitational, I'd be even more concerned.
Look, I don't even know if I like saying under the radar, right? Because this duo, champions of Japan, now tied for first place in one of the first international events we've had in years, right? The first we've had in years. The way they're performing, coming from the Rave Cave, there's another 2 duos surrounding them, so they don't necessarily have a free loop path that's on con. They have to be cautious, they have to be careful, but they've done that every single game and got into the late game, got in their eliminations. They are playing so well.
Yeah, you know what, Vivid earlier on the show, he said he wasn't usually impressed by a duo when he's VOD reviewing. Vivid, I hope you are impressed by these, because oh boy, are they putting on an impressive show right now. These guys, when I first looked at them, right, I was looking at them landing at the north side of Sleepy Sound. Yeah. Vino and Queasy decided, you know what, we're going to take control of this area, and they ran away. They went to the Rave Cave. That's where they're currently dropping. And you know what, at that point, I thought, I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this duo. Are they a little bit nervous? Are they a little bit scared going into this running away from one of the biggest teams? It's not a bad idea, of course, because seemingly it's working out.
I mean, they are just going absolutely ham. And remember, this is like, in that last game, we saw Merrim go down, right? And in that game specifically, Zago actually tried to go for the revive. Yep. In an alternate universe, there's a universe where Merrim was revived, and they 100% go on to win that game. So we'll have to keep an eye on this duo. Is there another duo for you guys you feel maybe might be under the radar, like truly under the radar?
Look, I don't want to say just one duo. I want to shout out both Zeke, KBR, and also Beachetin and Kitos. I mean, they've been playing so well, especially in this most recent game. They're getting to the late game, and not only that, they're getting in with a good amount of elims. If they keep up this consistency, I wouldn't be surprised if they maintain that spot in the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, and the latter there you mentioned, Beachetin and Kitos, those guys are doing really, really good at getting that early aggression off spawn. They're getting their Storm Surge out of the way because, of course, they're landing at a central POI, that sort of red bridge just to the left of that sort of mid-map area. They're doing a really, really good job at getting the Surge. Of course,
course, we had a few questions about that. Maybe there could be third parties coming in, of course, with there being such a central location. But they're answering all of the questions. And oh boy, are they fighting with some prowess. They're fighting with some aggression. And it's good to see. They're not nervous.
Yeah, Storm Surge, we saw it very prevalent in game one, right? A lot of these teams coming out and saying, this is a massive issue. And already within 2 games, we're seeing some of this being corrected. What might be a couple of the changes? Like, obviously, a lot of people kind of what we've hinted at is they're just getting aggressive, man. They're just saying, like, if you want to fight at my POI, let's do this. Let's go.
Look, speaking about a change, I want to see what Queasy and Vino do after this halftime, right? They've had 3 games. The first 2 went really well. And then this last one, they ended up getting eliminated a little early. I believe it was Queasy that was the last one standing. Vino got knocked down, and then he went for the revive and got taken out as well. So it might have just been, you know, a little mistake that happens. Mistakes always happen, but it's all about overcoming that, you know, leaving it behind you, adapting, and playing better in the upcoming matches. So I'm curious to see what they change.
Yeah, and of course, they've had that break now, right? We don't usually have this in traditional tournaments. We don't usually have this half-time break in between 3 and or the first 3 games, the latter 3 games. So this is something that I'm excited to see. Who's made the most of this time? Who's been really looking at their gameplay? Who's been analyzing? How can we solve the problems that we've had? And it's going to be up to the teams that have used that time most effectively. I think they're going to be the ones that have come out on top.
And I hope some of them have even taken this time and just said, like, let's just calm our nerves down. Like, as incredible it is to have an audience just lose their mind when elimination goes out or a victory all happens, we just need to contain ourselves. Even if something goes wrong, we're eliminated off spawn, it's not the end of the world. Just calm the nerves. Right, these are 100 of the best duos that all 7 regions have, right? So if they lose an off-spawn fight, it doesn't mean they're a bad duo. Doesn't mean they're not capable of winning the competition. They just had one off-spawn bad fight, and they need to correct it.
Right, I mean, if you're going to have a bad off-spawn fight, or even a bad match, the best time to have that bad match is right before the break, right? Because you get the time to stay calm, stay collected, refresh your mind, get a bit of water, get hydrated, get some food in you, and continue playing.
Of course, and things can change so quickly as well. We saw a very, very north zone in that previous game, all the way up to Shiny Sound, and it wasn't necessarily the zone that we would have expected a team that landed all the way on the south, Joe and Ziandi, to do well in. But it just shows things can change, and it's about the teams that are most adaptable to those changes that are going to be able to find the success. I'm impressed so far with all these high ground plays because a lot of these teams, they are high ground teams, particularly on some of the regions that we haven't talked about so much. Those guys, they know how to play height, so nobody's safe.
That's right, man. All these duos are back at it. Just look as we've kind of taken moments to just visit with each duo. You can tell the focus is there. A lot of them are ready to get back at it. What are you guys hoping to see changes for these next 3 games?
Look, we've seen a lot of victory royales come from the clouds, right? From up above. I want to see people down in the dirt, fighting back and showing what they're made of, right? Getting those elims on the teams up above and, you know, getting a VR from it.
You know who I think can do that? Cammy and Seti, right? We saw it in game number 1. They won on high ground, right? Which is very uncharacteristic for this duo. We're usually seeing them playing their materials, riding just on that edge of Surge and just trying to keep their materials going throughout that end game with some refreshes, but they play very, very calmly, if you like, which is something that could be really, really useful for them. I was thinking, like, you know, they won game 1. Of all the teams that you want to win game 1, for the other players, you don't want it to be Cammy and Seti because they can play so consistently, and I'm expecting to see more of that from them. Hopefully this halftime break, let's give them some time just to chill. It's like, hang on a sec, we won game 1 on height. Like, what's this? This is so alien to us.
I think what's interesting, too, is I've seen a couple duos now. It's like, hey, you look over, they got like 5 elims, but they still don't have what it takes, right? They're out of ammo. They have no heals. They have no builds. Why is that? If we're capable of finding 5 eliminations on a stage like this at calibers like this, what are we lacking?
There's so many types of engagements that you can encounter during a match, right? It could be early game engagements that staggered out and lasted a long time. We have Merstash and Malibuka going against Tayson and Chapix. I mean, those 2 duos alone are literally titans of their own region, and having them go head-to-head, those engagements can last a little while, and if it takes a long time to finish an engagement, you lose a lot of materials, you lose resources, you lose shields, and even if you end up coming out on top from that engagement, you've already used everything, and it's difficult to come back from that.
And of course, I mean, look at the lobby, right? Let's just take a look at it because everyone in this lobby is incredible. They're not going up against the likes of me and you. They're going up against some solid players, and they're pretty.
Yeah, I'm a walking 50 shield refresh. Don't even worry about me.
I can back.
We do have Adam and Kelly standing by. Friends, over to you.
That's what I want to hear, everyone. Thank you so much, Desk, and thank you guys for hanging out with us. We wanted to make sure that our players had a break between games 3 and 4, get some food, get some drinks, and now they are ready to go.
All right, we have got ourselves a game 4 imminently, but we need the entire world right now to hear us, North Carolina. Let us hear you make some noise! Let them hear you in Japan, in Greenham, let them hear you in Mars! We are here!
We are ready, everyone. Let's go to game number 4.
Now that's what we like to see. Let's go ahead and just pick things up and get right to it. Game 4 is underway. The players are already landed off the battle bus. If you were walking around, take a seat because it's time to get into the action.
And it's already looking like Kanata trying to get busy. Taking down Vortexers for the first elimination of the game. Ascented trying to put shots on into the distance. It does look like Cole got a knock onto Pars. The angles and the pressure is already coming out. These guys have been battling all weekend long for that contested drop spot in the middle islands. And with Pars dropping, Raze has the world of pressure on his shoulder in this game.
It's so crazy because we didn't think they were going to be able to do it.
Nope.
Get past this, what feels like crazy hurdle. Being contested on an in-person event should honestly cross you out of the equation here, but not for these competitors. They don't let that little inconvenience stop them. If anything, they weaponize it. They've turned it into surge tag. They've turned it into great standings. Even Zagu and Marine here from Team Alba representing for their entire region at the Rave Cave.
Yep, this is huge. You got Thomas, HD, and Tripperin, Commandment, and Avery all landing towards the Rave Cave. Luckily enough, this is one of the biggest POIs with a ton of loot to go around. And you're kind of seeing not too many early game fights going down over there. Kitos and PH Zin trying to have that early game that they want, because for them, they've been doing so consistent lately out of this drop spot. Not too much contesting going by. And for their Storm Surge, they have so many players around them so they can gather it.
Now what's crazy is that the story of Brazil is W key, but not for them. They've made all their points through placement. They actually have some of the lowest eliminations overall. When you stand them against the others inside the top 5, they're actually at the lower spectrum. But Vico and Marine here starting to get into some dangerous territory. You can see the reality tree is no free position by any means. You have Retake and crew up above, Z, Andy, and Joe, who have just taken home a huge moment and win for themselves, are now poised up at the sign-up station just south of Booga and Miro.
Yeah, and right now, even though they have uncontested drop, it almost makes me wonder with the zone kind of being towards the northeast portion. I was going to say exactly this, what Grim Gable looks like for Larson and Smite, who actually did win that off-spawn exchange last game against Buzz and Looter, trying to have that repeat success here in this game. But right now, they're just kind of taking their time. They're high up on the mountain, so they got to be careful for those third-party attempts to come through.
Now, Buzz and Looter are playing potentially spoiler here outside the Grim Gables, because we have this Larson and Smite duo who have fought their way on up to 7th. And again, elims are the name of the game for Larson and Smite, but this is where they have built their reputation, fighting in the early game, managing to get so much experience being contested season after season. It started way back north where Vino and Queasy are, but hold up, Larson finds one, the trade is good, and Smite gets the other, and down goes OCE, Muzz, and Looter.
That was a fantastic play by Larson, reading him like a book. He turned the page and got an elimination as Mr. Savage strikes again. On one goes down. Baka has to go ahead and figure out what to do next as iDrop's trying to get those angles. Right now, they're just trying to alleviate the pressure, but the Brazilian duo that you're talking about, King and Mr. Savage, they're looming in the distance, waiting for that perfect moment to strike.
And that's right. This is such a huge opportunity. Now, remember, they land just west of the Chrome Jam Junction. For them to come in, sweep things up, could change the story around. There it is. They open up with a couple tags, but iDrop gets to the loot first. He's got the refresh. He's got a little more material, and you have to assume King and Ed are just a little bit more positioned and ready for this, but a good defense, a good bluff is all you need here to back them off, and it is going to be enough. King and Ed don't get to show us what they're made of in a clean 2v2.
Another team's kind of floating in towards Chrome Jam. That is the Asian powerhouse. But over here, towards the islands, towards Mighty Monument, you have the FNCS, NA West champions, trying to have that repeat performance in game number 1. That's Basil, that's Chase, that are under pressure. High ground is seemingly right now cemented to the PSG TNA duo.
Now Yuumi is very solid. Cool's gonna find Jason the feed there. It's up to Basil by himself. Basil has no teammate to work with here, and he is trapped inside this stone build here. This is a very tough tower to play out of. Awkward positions to build, and the terrain gets extremely weird. He does drop a few layers, but there's only 2 exits, and one of them's cut off by tons of enemy territory. So look at this. He goes out the back with the windows there, and that is that game knowledge kicking in there. Yuumi and Core looking so solid. This is what they do on a day-to-day basis, isn't it, Jacob?
Yep, this is exactly what they came to do here with that stunning performance last season. Even though it was a 2-day competition, they ran away with it on day 1, and when push came to shove, they held on to it in day 2 to take home that crown. But you can kind of see the Brazilian duo slowing things down just a little bit. They thought it was going to be an easy third party on a Mr. Savage and Baka and on one, but it wasn't as easy as we thought.
Definitely, and of course, plenty of highlights as well. Let's get caught up with how this unplayed and unfolded. So On1 just gets snuck up on there, saw all the Chrome builds. He says, no, I'm not going through that. We're going to go and take the easy path here.
But that's exactly what iDrop was kind of talking about. He said, I've been dropping here for 12 months.
Right.
I'm ready to fight. I'm not splitting loot. I came to take what's mine. And he does it game after game after game. If they can keep up this type of consistency, mix that with an opportunity to take the end game, this is a recipe for a duo that can catch fire at any moment. Because you got to remember, one of the last in-person events that we had, not the last one, but one of the last, Mr. Savage took it out on top. You had Bizzle in second, and the placement's down far after.
That's right, but look at this. Seti and Cammy going to the old trusty right on top of this air blimp. This is what you expect. This is a huge double-edged sword here where you expose yourself, but you just open up the entire terrain before you. As we jump on over to Kitos and BH in here, looking absolutely phenomenal. They have more eliminations against players inside the top 10 than any other duo, just showing us exactly what they are capable and made of.
This is literally the story of them on their region as well. They consistently take out teams at the top, and that is perfect preparation for a lobby like this, because you got to think the Brazil region, they're fighters. They love to fight, and right now they're playing against the best, and it's working out.
Let's talk a little bit about this zone for a second here. For the first time now, we see a little northern pull off to the east, so we get another kind of shake-up. So the last time we went to Shiny, it didn't quite work out for Vino and Queasy, but what we did see was that they were so just suited for a big game. And now that we know that, it should be the same story. But let's get on over to Lustrous Lagoon here. It's crazy to me how Runa and Peppo have demanded so much respect from this entire regional competition that no one has decided to contest them here at the Lagoon. We've known in seasons past, this is a hot spot.
Yeah, and I love how they're playing. They know exactly what happens to any team in Lustrous Lagoon if they have it uncontested. You take too long to loot, these other team on the outskirts will begin to climb up onto that mountain and put the shots down. They met Chimp and Scram there. They don't want to let anything go easy in a lobby like this, but Chimp, you can kind of see him crouching down, biding his time, trying to minimize the audio that he does give out, reuniting with Scram, trying to get that elevation in, but no opportunity is going to be given up by Runa and Peppo.
Love the focus that we're seeing from Chimp right now as he is starting to line up Runa and Peppo here. Not afraid of taking a fight, but also playing extremely smart. He does have the slight disadvantage, but Runa swings the thing around there. He says, hold up. Might just go up for high ground. Meanwhile, Queasy looking for tags here in the distance. So there's all types of battles starting to shape up and potentially heat out right now. And remember, this is all in loom of potential Storm Surge, right?
Scram, Chimp, still in that high ground fight. The thing is, they're in zone. Every team that landed south is going to come here on this side. This is going to be the most congested side of the map, Monster. They have to be careful. They got to start looking to end this fight quick, whether it's taking the actual fight or just trying to disengage.
Zagu doesn't stop, though. He finds Falconer in the feed there while this fight is raging on here. Chimp still looking around, just saying, hey, Scram, I trust you. Do your thing. Take that toe-to-toe. Keep them busy. Meanwhile, Chimp's like, I'll look for tags in the distance, make sure no one sneaks up. the confidence to trust in Scram to play by himself here.
Zagu, the team from Asia. You see Hellfire and Falconer in the distance. The shots just coming in.
Gosh.
You can see how he went down. He had no choice but to go forward. Storm was going to eat him alive. And I think that's still Queasy and Vino on top of the blimp, lending that helping hand inadvertently.
And then they just W key straight across as well. They're like, you're not going to get that save whether you want to or not. We're here to fight, and we're going to make sure we solidify the elim. That will effectively allow them to take first place, breaking the tie. Now Vino and Queasy, of course, are just behind them, and this is going to become a matter of who can survive the longest and play the best, of course. So this is still a moment, and ooh, big decision to make. Chrome Splash, the launch pad. It looks like they dropped them.
What are you choosing? I like the Chrome Splashes personally.
I'm trusting in their gut. It doesn't matter what I want. They got the launch pad. I want the launch pad too.
Go ahead. Actually does give you options. Short pad. You can do the high pad. You can go ahead and try to take high ground if you're able to hold on it towards the end game. And this is going to be the first instance of Storm Surge in game number 4 that we're going to see. All day long, we've seen teams not necessarily manage it the best, and that being the sole focus of why they get down. But game number 3, Victory Royale winners, Joe and Zandy, 58 below the damage threshold and continuously falling.
Now, they did win a game, but that's not enough to stay in. You have to continue to perform, and maybe, just maybe, that long-awaited break has allowed other teams to figure it out. Hit that drawing board. They're slowly slipping down now. 91 below here, but the longer they wait, the more likely enemies are to set up. So they have to get going. Off to the air vent they go. Can they get there in time? He misses it just slightly, but Joe fights back, and he doesn't miss. How quick was the setup there? Nicely done. That little bit of defense is something, sometimes all you need to go in and buy you some time.
But they're still 46 below the damage threshold. They have a lot more room to cover as well, but luckily for them, they have the Chili Chug Splash. They have the Mighty Monument.
Oh,
as
no!
Nico has an elimination onto Miriam. Can he be able to clean that one up and get the spoils after that falls all together? Moraine and Vico really trying to show up this game, and you talked about it during that break about how stacked that top of the leaderboard actually is.
And it looks like they were waiting around just a little too long. They try to bait out the vault, and instead they get punished. And now Zagu is by himself. The shield bubble is going to buy him some time, but it's only a matter of time. If he stays there, yes, they're just going to 2v1 him. He goes up for high ground, and he's trying to get on out of here. Vico and Moraine decide better. They say, all right, I'm okay with that. With Swag and Pablo here, let's just get to the new Storm. Let's get safe, and that's what they do first. But it is not looking good for our first place team now.
Yeah, so many teams just barely on the threshold, either above or below, as Runa and Peppo trying to keep things going. They are 244 below the damage threshold, going up against Pink and Anas, who've also had their own struggles when it comes to Storm Surge. This could be a good fight for both of them. A huge shot coming out of Peppo. Pink and Anas, they have their backs up against the wall, trying to get out alive, but the backfire comes through. Vidil gets an elimination as well. Everybody in this fight is under siege. Pink, with his back up against the wall, takes them both down.
And EU takes down Asia in a 2v2 head-to-head with no interference in the distance. Chapix cleans things up onto Z, Andy, and Joe are game 3 winners, and now Chapix and Tayson continue to play upset. Let's just take a look at the highlight. How did it all go down? He walks up. Man, this is why Chapix is so good. This is what he did in the World Cup. This is what he's doing here now, and ooh, you can see the pain. That was a tough one.
Yeah, that's definitely tough here, but luckily for them, they did get that Victory Royale. They're at the top side of the leaderboard. One bad game does not decide your future, as Queasy and Vino under siege yet again. Just a sliver of HP. Storm Surge doing its wonders, but they have 10 splashes. But Vino has to try to get him out. That means Queasy has to alleviate some of the pressure with the builds. But shots coming in from the distance. Luckily for them, it's another team that is struggling to surge, so they're not the sole focus of the lobby just yet.
Now, this is insane. First place has already lost a teammate. Now Vino and Queasy were in second. Just points behind, are so hurt here, and the surge is continuing. They will have to take this fight. That's not an easy duo, and that one isn't either. This is looking very, very tough now for Queasy and Vino.
As Miriam gets knocked down again to Edgy. They're just going through it this game. We talk about consistency being the key. 44 below the damage threshold. Commandment and Avery become the targets to Queasy and Vino, but how long can they last? Just only a few ticks away. The short pad coming through. They get the damage, but is it going to be enough to go above the damage threshold? Yo, it is not, but it is finally at the tail end. Barely going to be enough. Launchpad going out. They're going to live, Monster, to fight another day.
How did Queasy survive that with 1 HP, and now he gets to fight back just a little bit here? Can he find anything? Was there something left behind? They should know better. This is their landing spot. This is their home territory, and they're just going to go ahead and look for scraps now. And just like that, they knew what they left behind, and they are going to be back in this game in no time.
Some of the biggest brains in Fortnite to kind of remember something like that. That is outside of the box thinking, but the Storm Surge has not left them just yet. 49 still below the damage threshold. Commandment and Avery, I don't know how they made it out alive either, but they're still doing a good job this time around. 187 above the damage threshold. Let's see what they can do when it's not going to be a worry.
Let's not forget, these are our previous NA East champions, but hold up, Vino says we need some E-Lins, but no, he gets taken out, and Queasy, it's up to him, and he falls too. And all of a sudden, Vino and Queasy are down, and Zagu is there to play in the mess here. He is putting his own 2 thoughts into the battle. He has not given up, and this is an opportunity now. Look at Zagu's HP. He is so hurt there off to the side, and now he turns and burns. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave it to you, Avery. I'm gonna leave it to you, Commandment. You guys can have it, but it's Savage and iDrop who get all the loot.
Yeah, and that's huge for the loot for Savage and iDrop, because now they can kind of pick and choose. You see, he still has some bandages there, so he's trying to look for something else to maybe trade it off. But with 2 launch pads, the zone right now is not going to be a worry at all, especially since Commandment and Avery are already making their rotation outward. But another team landed towards Cloudy combos. Malibuca and Mustache.
So let's think about this, right? 3rd place is out. Joe and Zandy are out. That's going to allow things to get really competitive at the top. But now that we see Queasy and Vino crossed out as well, it is that much closer here. Let's take a look at these quick highlights here. How are they so far ahead of the Surge? Well, there you go. You ask and you receive. Jamper just gets clotheslined without any notice.
It almost looks like they were thinking the same thing. Let me knock on this door, take this piece away, but Jamper was just a little bit too slow to the punch. Trolls Rifty trying to fly high through the sky. Tripper and Thomas. It's like target practice for them as Macwood does go down to high zone. There goes the leaderboard, 5th through 9th. Look how stacked it is. Only 8 points separating those teams.
And remember, Joe and Andy are down and out. Zagu has jumped back into the game here.
Impressive.
46 damage above the Surge. All he has to do is out-survive 2 players, and you would think it would not be possible, but he has found his way back into this game here, and he is still getting that much more lucky. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of luck, and look at the heals come back to reward him here. He's going to hold on and continue to earn. Seti and Cammy have an opportunity to go ahead and close this gap. They lost out on it at the last game, falling short. But as we know, they're slow, they're steady.
Yeah, for them, it's not just chasing after eliminations. They're not forcing any of these plays. Like you said, slow and steady wins the race. So for them, they let these opportunities naturally present itself while gathering all the information in the lobby. They know exactly what to do as long as they're not playing with their backs up against the wall. Clix and Duke, another highly skilled team, 353 above the damage threshold. They already have an elimination. For them, it's just making it to the end game itself.
And it's crazy to show the disparity, the point difference between Clix and Duke there, and 1st place, 47 points separate 20th from 1st. It shows you that's about a 2-game spread. You have to play very, very well, but it also shows you 1 big win, and you're inside the top 10. Undoubtedly, you are very much right back into this game if you can just get 1.
Yeah, mindset and handling this pressure is going to be huge because it's easy. You know, 12 games, being in a stage like this, you go down early, it starts to sink in that doubt. It's easy to believe in that doubt, but right now, you guys are the best of the best on that stage. You need to snap yourselves out of it and really pick it back up because this is game 4 out of 12. You have every chance in the world to make a comeback.
Ju and Yusra have been contested on the drop to the hands of OCE, Alex and Bailey. We have seen what they have managed to do all day. They are an exceptional duo. And finally now, Yusrian do get to show us what they are made of. They are playing for high ground, but they're below the surge. They're going to have to take a box fight. The wall's his, but not quick enough on the edit there. And instead, he backs off. What do you do in this situation? Do you look around or take a box fight is the question. And Ju says, hold that thought. Let me go ahead and get these tags real quick.
Don't worry, Monster. I got you. You ask a question, I'll definitely give you an answer in a moment. 48 above the damage threshold. They know their job is not done just yet, but they can at least slow things down, start to gather the information like a lot of these other teams are going to be needing. But with them having the high ground, if they pull zone, they're going to be in the perfect position to terrorize the rest of the lobby. Oof.
Smite and
Nobody
Larson
gets it.
Smite and Larson still alive here. They came in 7th place. 3 elims added on to where they left off. Now effectively has to jump them on up for a fight for top 3, potentially first as well. I have a question though. Is Zagu still alive? Is he somehow snaking his way around the game? We're gonna have to find out. Sensitive Cold, often an end game. That consistency paying off right now as we know it should. Sensitive and Cold are just proving that they are so good at Fortnite, no matter what the setting is, online or in person.
And the team, after that first game, is finally finding their rhythm. 251 above the damage threshold. 3 eliminations so far. 3 chilling chug splashes onto Merstash. So you got to imagine on the other side, probably having some rotation as well. But Scented and Cold right now trying to find a way to stabilize. 29 below the damage threshold. Luckily for them, though, that's not too much. That's one good shot, but the same thing happens to them. They're under pressure. 19 HP, trying to get the splashes off, but now Zone is kicking them out. Cold goes down. It's all to Scented.
And it looks like Acorn and Edgy were just waiting for that wall to open up, and there it is. Acorn is the one who finds Cold, and Scented is now left to do it by himself, but he has been here before. That is where he feels most comfortable. Meanwhile, Pink and Anas, they have so much catching up to do. They have already picked up 5 elims. This is exactly the type of pacing they want to be on coming into an end game. But Cammy and Seti are here in the mid ground. P18 and Kitos are there as well. This is one of the most dangerous layers that we have seen, and it's players who are fighting to get that #1 spot.
Oh, but Scented, he was able to take down Thor, but he needs that Siphon to come through, and it goes in just in the nick of time, trying to stay alive. Chili Chug Splash to try to go ahead and gain the speed to get to the outside of zone. Somehow Anas is down. You got to thank Commandment Avery for that one. So now Pink is left as a solo. What can he do with only 3 builds to his name?
And they take high ground again in this game here. 4 elims now. Things are really starting to get interesting for NAEs. Avery says, come down. Let's go to the low ground and wait for him to start taking the lead here. Now, usually we call Commandment the Mr. Clutch, and Commandment says, trust in me. I have this high ground on lock. Meet me at the top.
Yep, for one of the most insane end game finishes for the FNCS Chapter 3 Season 3 Championship. They're looking to do it here again in this game as Malapuka's by himself. He ends up into the box, takes another player out. A huge Siphon and refresh to come through just in the nick of time. That was Ed from Brazil who went down, but he's doing a good job. Malapuka immediately beelining to the front side of zone.
And back to Pink here. Look at Pink's perspective. He's on that low with 7 elims. He has not stopped picking up. Malapuka continues to fight though. Yusri is gonna fall there, and a quick elim. Someone's behind him though. Now he turns around, and it's just enemy territory everywhere. Which way are you gonna go, son? That's the zone. Larson and Smite are still alive. This is where they do the most work, but no, it's not enough. They get wiped up and taken out.
Shot missed. Duke clicks, take advantage in the blink of an eye. Another end game. They're trying to move up to the top leaderboards as Thomas HD goes down. Trippin feeling the pressure as a solo here. Changing elevation. That was a huge play because look how many teams are stuck down low towards the low ground, but now he has to meet him down there as Commandment Avery begin to put on the pressure. Malapuka, 4 eliminations as a solo. 6 as a team. The damage continues, and he's putting on a show.
He doesn't stop. Down goes Rifty. 5 elims. Can he get another? No, it's not enough. Tripper fights back. He's got it in him. And now, look at this. Behind the walls, BL and Edgy from the Storm. BL is still in this. It's Seti who's representing on this low ground. Another huge, consistent game for Seti is everything here.
There's 5 duos left, and about maybe 3 of them are full duos right now, and Savage loses another one. He's a solo. He's trying to take down the NA West team. He takes down Yumi. Huge Siphon coming through. Mr. Savage does it again and gets into the top 4.
You have to love the move in here.
Oh my God.
Another one. He does not stop. Seti might just be next. Savage is on fire. Let's see it. High ground is still NA East. 1v1v2. Commandment and Avery have everything working for them as Savage is looking to do so much work. But Seti says, hold up, I could find a chance here. He needs to pick and choose this wisely. Do you go for 2 elims on the low ground or a chance at first? And down goes Savage. Seti knows better, and it's a great game for Commandment and Avery.
A huge victory royale and a huge boost for the NA East champions of Chapter 3, Season 3. Commandment and Avery switched up their games after halftime, and it pays off big.
And that's why you have to love that little moment where the players get to hit the drawing board. Look at that smile on Commandment. You love to see it as they have managed to put up a huge win and represent. And again, the story goes now. 2 for EU, 2 wins for NA East. It's just back and forth, showing us how close the competition really is.
And you're seeing the polar opposite of what happens to some of these teams. But let's go ahead and listen to them as Kelly is going to dig deep to figure out how they did it.
Thank you so much, Jacob. Clearly, you guys have made a great change. What exactly have you done differently in Game 4?
We just looked for height way more than like game 1, 2, 3, and like we just landed on it and like won the game. Bro. I don't know.
So is that going to be the strategy for the next game?
When it's free like that, we're definitely going to be on high ground.
I mean, you obviously seem to be feeling great right now, man. What's going through your mind?
I don't even know, bro. My hands are tingling.
That is awesome. Everyone make some noise for Commandment and Avery. Let's head on back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for checking in with our Victory Royale winners from game number 4, Commandment and Avery. And I'm so thankful they kind of had that moment to be like, yo, my hands are shaking, right? Like, that's what's going on. This pressure is unlike anything. And the moment that these guys start to pop off, you could hear the crowd going absolutely ham. Because this is what we want to see, right? This game was like way more aggressive than anything else we've seen.
It's what you love to see, right? Malibuka popping off like a solo. Mr. Savage popping off like a solo. Pink in 6 zone with 5 elims, but then Avery and Commandment taking it from above, taking the high ground and finishing it off with a nice little VR. Look, we just had halftime. They had a little break. I don't even think they changed up their strategy a lot, but just that little moment of time to reflect and get back into the game, it's changed a lot.
And you saw that right there. The refresh from Commandment, that was so crucial in them holding the high ground out at the end. I had a little look. Commandment had 200 wood when they were on high ground in a second moving zone. It wasn't going to be enough. That was a crucial refresh from Commandment, and that is ultimately what got them the victory, right? They were able to take the high ground and spray down below right at the perfect time as well. Look at the standings.
Oh, man, and you know what's crazy too? Cammy and Seti. We saw Seti make top 3 there, right? And even though he was a solo, he held on. But really quickly, Adam, I think you want to talk about something. What you got, friend?
I got so much for you guys right now. I'm joined by the almighty Clicks and Duke, everyone! We're working so hard over here right now. Duke's hand warmer is exploding in his hand because he's working that hard. Duke, currently you guys are sat, I think, in 13th place, 82 points. After 4 games, how's it been being out there amongst the rest of the competitors?
I'm feeling good playing with the loot that we have. We're doing really well. We're leaving off spawn with like 2 minis max, maybe like a big pot, and we're still doing good. I'm feeling good right now.
You're doing fantastic. I mean, Clicks as well. Prior to this sort of competition, you almost partnered with Pink, who was, obviously is dropping in the same area for Jonesy as you guys. How's it being testing yourselves against them each POI and each drop?
It sucks. Like what Duke said, we're leaving terrible loot, and we always have to come back. But good luck to them. And it's pretty close right now.
It is only 20 points at the top, I think.
Yeah, it's like 10. We're 10 points between each other.
Okay.
But good luck to them.
Looking good. I love that. Great sportsmanship there. Big up for Clicks and Duke, everyone. And heading down this way too. Coming over to Pink and Anas. What's up, Pink? How are we? I couldn't miss you with the hair. Looks great. How's the competition been thus far as well for you guys?
Anas is playing good, and he's just following me, and I'm playing good. So far, it's good.
Lots of good. That's good. And Anas as well, partnering with Pink in this competition. We just asked Clicks the question as well. Fort Jonesy, both dropping in the same POI. How have you managed to manage it thus far?
Yeah, I think we're playing pretty well. It's some minor mistakes that we make that make us die, but like, overall, it's pretty good.
But you've still got plenty of time to change things up.
Yeah, yes. I think we're gonna keep adapting, and just do what it takes.
I think in this competition, you have to adapt, being all the regions combined in one lobby. So big up for Anas and Pink, everybody! Let's head back over to Zeke and the gang.
Thank you so much, Adam, and fantastic just to hear from these players. I love this setting, right? We can literally just go, I want to know what those players are thinking. Let's walk up, let's ask a couple questions, and kind of see them. You can even tell, like, they're still pretty focused, right? Like, of course, they're going to answer Adam's questions, but there is definitely, like, a level of resolve right there where they're like, look, I just want to get in this next game. I want to get the run back.
Look, I want to speak a little bit on our current first place duo, Seti and Cammy, right? We normally see them XL in day 2, but now they're popping off in day 1, 120 points. They're showing their consistency, but I just really hope that they can keep it up.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this duo, right? We saw them in the mid-ground layers that time, and usually we do see them there, but a little bit higher up than usual. And that's what they've been doing this season. They've been switching up their playstyle, which hasn't worked out too well for them in the past. They're traditionally low ground, very, very calm, very, very passive, if you like, in the early stage of the game. They're just riding on the surge, of course, I mentioned earlier, but they are really trying to change things up. And you could see it didn't quite work out. Of course, Cammy going down early. So you know what Seti thought? He thought, you know what? I'm just going to go back to basics. Back down to low ground. We've seen him solo clutching so many times. And oh boy, was he doing it again. Absolutely crazy scenes.
I mean, they always put on a show, right? Seti and Cammy, they're well known. They've accomplished so much, and now, if today and tomorrow combined, they can keep it up. They can take home a title, an international title. It would be something that I'd love to see, but them having secured the VR game 1 from height was surprising, and now seeing them keep up the consistency is not as surprising. We know how strong they are, but you know, we're only 4 games in. There's still so much more to be played out.
That's right, man. 2 games left on the day. And remember, this is kind of setting the pace, because we're back tomorrow for another 6 games, and we're going to walk away winners. But it is that time. We are ready for game number 5 here from Raleigh, North Carolina. This is the FNCS Invitational. Thank you so very much, Zeke. There we get to kick things back off one more time. It's Monster D-Face and Jacob PR calling all the action here. What a set of games we've had so far.
Yeah, this is nothing short than entertainment at its finest.
Right.
I feel like a gladiator calling all the action in an arena. This has just been dreams come true. But right now, game number 5 is about to be underway, and this is where some dreams could become nightmares.
Hopefully no one's dreams get crushed here, but it is inevitable. At the end, you have to step up. You have to perform. And we've seen so many great performances already, especially when it comes down to this Becoming Legends duo of Cammy and Seti. Wait for them to represent not only for Poland, but the organization. I know my boy Reno is proud sitting back right now as these players are competing at the best of their capabilities. But once again, this northern bus shows us there's going to be trouble for Savage and iDrop here, or Baka and On1.
Yeah, I want to see Baka and On1 kind of really either do one of 2 things. Be the aggressors first, or just kind of get what they got out of their loot and try to get out, because right now, it just seemingly time and time again, Mr. Savage and iDrop have that high ground, but waste no time. Muzz and Loot are getting busy, putting damage onto Larson before he can even touch the ground. Baka does it! He does it over towards Chrome Jam. He gets the double and takes down Mr. Savage and iDrop.
Man, oh man, there are big stories developing now. Green Gables will have a fight soon here. Looter and Muzz have a chance at redemption, but the story has been told for the Chrome Jam Junction. We get to close that book out for now. Meanwhile, don't forget, Kondo has the battles there too. Let's take a look here. This time they go for high ground. He beats them to the drop. Whoa! Best Savage turns and burns on iDrop. What an incredible 2v1. Representing for NA West. You didn't think it was possible, but they're putting it up. That's 2 for 2.
And another action going down very early yet again. Cloudy Condos, we haven't seen too much of it right out of the gates, but Chapix is down. Aqua was able to get the knock, and they're hunting. They're hunting for Tayson right now.
Let's see it. Cloudy Condos is a tough spot to fight, especially at the southern area. The southern area is more often taken by a singular team of Reason and Aqua, but Malabuka and Murstache got a little lucky here as Tayson tries to steal in and sneak away some loot. But you see the knock body there. No save just yet. They're going to leave him behind. They're baiting it. They want Tayson to try to go for Chapix here. Aqua gets punished, though. And now, little lesson learned, he slows down.
This is fabulous for Malbuka and Mustache, though, because now they have options. They can loot up, they can get the resources, everything that they want, and more as Aqua gets knocked, but Tayson gets taken out. Chapix and Tayson are the second team. EU are the only 2 teams down out of this game so far, but if you look at the leaderboard, Seti and Cammy sitting strong in first, Thomas and Trippin close by, but now Malbuka and Mustache, knowing that that fight just ended, they can either go right away and try to clean it up, or they can continue doing what they're doing, loot up and try to get out, but we know how aggressive this team is going to be, and I think it's going to be the first choice.
Let's see it. There's still a chance. There's still time left in the ticker here, but things are not looking too hot. Let's jump on over to Larson and Smite. Larson and Smite, Grim Gables. This is now, again, the second time we get to catch it real early where they have this slight advantage. The last time it was Looter who fell first and then left it all up to Muzz. It's looking like this might be the same story once again. Looter and Muzz notably not that successful in early game battles versus Larson and Smite as a comparison who have such better odds just historically. And so far it's been just like that.
Yeah, that was a huge shot landed by Muzz, but in that 2v1 situation, it's easy to kind of stabilize yourself, heal up, and now Muzz is just trying to get out. He's trying to survive, and it's going to be up to Larson and Smite to kind of let him. Do you let him survive? You continue to chase him. Right now, they are hot on his heels. They don't want to let these 2 points. They don't want to let that refresh. They don't want to let the elimination slip through, and right now, it is not, but that was an explosive ending. That Muzz almost makes magic happen.
Smite says, you want a show? I'll give you a show. Hold this pickaxe. And down goes Muzz. What a way to really assert yourself here. Meanwhile, on the other side, Vico and Marine push up on retake and Novice here inside the box. Vico with a quick finish and then steps over to the side. He 2v1s at the reality tree as well. And oh, the punishment there, that's tough, but it happens.
Yep, and the fights, they continue all around. Pink and Anas, they're trying to do it yet again, but it's not Clicks, it's not Dukes, it's Peter Bot and Jamper this time around.
What are they doing
And
here?
they're ready to fight. They're ready to take it to them. And this is what happens when teams go the last couple of games struggling to Storm Surge on an uncontested drop. They're trying to get active. They're trying to find what damage they can gather. And for Peter Bot and Jamper, it does look like they bit off a little bit more than they could chew because Pink and Anas have every single advantageous position right now.
Yeah, but Peter Bot, Jamper already picking up big end games. They know how to navigate these early game situations, and more importantly, Peter Bot is just gross when it comes down to head-to-head. That is not a player you can sleep on by any means, and Jamper is a veteran. He does not get the credit he deserves. He has put in so much work for years now on the NA East region, and he always seems to fly under that radar. What more can do? And this is a respectable disengage, right? They come on in and say, oh, look, these guys are healthy. I don't know where's Clicks and Duke maybe, you know, let's get out of here.
Yep, but now you can see Rob Bob Kabab and Wax trying to bring it over towards Chimp and Scram, towards the outskirts, and another team looming in the distance. That's Peppo and Runa. And another team coming from the Lighthouse. That could be Pamsto and Fatch. Who knows? Either way, we're going to have a house party in a couple moments.
Let's see it, the breakdown, though. Looking for the chop here. It's held on by nothing, and now it starts toppling over. But there are players in the distance here making it tough for them, ruining their plans. But down come Chimp and Scram. So, okay, there is a little development here. They do get to reset. Blind shots into the bush. Robobs is like, hold my mini shield. Let me show you what I can do. And he hits some huge tags there. Peppo and Runa, though, are looking at Chimp right now, and oh, they open fire, but no tags there.
Yeah, and you can kind of see Chimp and Scram. Chimp, you're talking about one of the most consistent players on the NA East region. He knows exactly what to do in a lot of these different situations. He's just trying to get out. He realized so many teams are here. So many teams are trying to disrupt and kind of put their hand into the mix, and that's not something they want to be a part of. But that piece control and the peaks, the shots on the defensive end are huge for Chimp and Scram, because now that put that fear into Peppa and Runa. Do we continue to fight this off? Do we continue to lose health? As it looks like they're even trying to keep their distance.
Yeah, Chimp doing an excellent job defending here, but you know, a refresh would be even better in this instance, but the pressure comes in, he loses his shield, and they are starting to run out of gas here. Robob and Wax walk up to the wall. They say, hey, Chimp, we thought we forgot about you. But no, too much pressure from Runa and Peppo, and they leave the damage to them. And they go ahead and take this as a small W to Scram. Really left to defend himself here, and he's doing an excellent job.
This is going to be interesting right now because everybody tried to disengage in a moment. But at the same time, they're so close together. There's only so much you can do. But Runa, he takes a huge amount of damage. They got to figure out a way to stabilize right here. But Chimp and Scram, they know so many teams are around. They don't want to bite off more than they can chew. They don't want to put themselves in a position they might later regret as the shots are still coming in. Scram goes down. Chimp under siege. He's trying to figure out a way to survive. He has no builds left to his name. Rabab Kebab as well. Every single one of these players are now going to be stuck in zone.
This is crazy. Runa and Peppo start to fight back. They have the shield chug there, and it's going to allow them to go ahead and heal back up. And now they run in to the zone, hunting for Robot. Peppo's like, no, I want this fight. Robot plays the low ground. Runa comes to support, and all of a sudden he is trapped like a mouse chasing cheese, and it might just be all over here. 10 HP, moments are ticking. Runa's down, he's hurt, but Wax falls first, and Peppo gets the first elimination there for his duo.
1 HP for Runa.
Whoa.
He got the med miss to stay alive. Can they? Okay, there's another rift there. I was going to say, I thought they were going to get the rift in time, but there's another rift there. Not too much to worry about for them. But every one of those teams that were fighting there that might not be the most healthiest are still going to have to go through Pam, Stu, and Fetch. But on board, Belusi and Hijo, they're feeling good. They got themselves a spot in the zone.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a perfect time to catch up with Vivid with a mid-game analysis.
Guys, the action is popping off so much so that we missed the fight over here at Chrome Crossroads. Alex and Bailey haven't had the best of starts to the day, but game 5 here, they find these 2 early eliminations, and we know that they love to play the high ground. We want to show you guys these reactions. They're so happy to find this as well. The dances come out. We'll have to see what type of momentum this uses for them.
And now we jump over with PH, Zen, and Kitos, who are sitting up on high ground, you know, hands off the desk, relaxing right now, just soaking in what an exceptional day it has been for them. They have played so well, and the zone is now going their way. So for the first time, we have this zone pulling far northwest. This is the backyard of King, Ed, Merim, of course, and Zagu here. Excellent players up top.
This could be actually a recipe for success for the Asian powerhouse, the Japanese team, to kind of take a big game and take up that first place spot right back. They're right now in center zone. They have the highest elevation in the lobby, and a couple teams all around in case Storm Surge does become a problem. As Commandment and Avery over still towards Rave Cave. They have Launchpad to use. They have enough rotation. So they're going to be one of the last teams to leave the spot altogether.
And again, just excellent. Commandment and Avery coming off a Victory Royale, zone pulling their way. This is a perfect recipe to take that momentum and bring it on home. So we are watching several teams now literally catch a little bit of that favor in the feed. Hellfire finds Booga, and down he goes. Trouble in Chonkers down south. That's that late zone rotate, and that is what happens when the zone pulls far north. You could do your little dead side western rotates, but at the end of the day, there are players waiting there too. It's just textbook reads.
Oh, I saw in the feed there just a few seconds ago, Queasy and Vino, they were able to get a knock onto, I think it was Merim or Zagu there for a moment. Are they going to be able to kind of run up and clean it up? I think they got the elimination altogether.
Now keep in mind, Marine coming into that last game, they were in first and second tied leading, and they have fallen to 5th. So this is a huge opportunity here.
That's where you take it into your own hands, take full control of that one. And you can see he was just out of position. You cannot be out of position in a lobby like this. That is what it's going to be a decision you regret for the rest of your life. But Merim, we see Zagu pick up a ton of points as a solo last game. Now it's Merim's turn to return the favor.
And you see what he does here. He recognizes, hey, wait a second.
That's scary.
Vito and Queasy might know I am the solo. I think I've been outed. Let me defend myself to the west and put all of my focus on Vino and Queasy so they do not sneak up. Excellent plays right there. Just smart play. We're seeing what Asia is capable of. Meanwhile, Seti, Cammy, inside the storm. This is their home territory. Dead center, more or less on the split. And now they get to hit that rotate.
PH Zen and Kitos from Brazil. We talked about them, 186 below the damage threshold, but They're a team that can pop off at a moment's notice. They have the most eliminations on players in the top 10 on 6. Look at that stat, flies up right when I'm going to read it right there. But the 189 below the damage threshold, that is so concerning for me. But it looks like Midton and Arthur are closing the distance. They might be below as well. This is between two teams, two powerhouses trying to land big shots. BHSin loses his teammate. 2v1 situation. Arthur and Mixon trying to get into the box.
This is the first time we see PHZin lose his teammate this early in the game. This is a huge development for him. And notice the problem is he didn't quite get to the zone early enough. And Z, Andy, and Joe capitalize on that solo opportunity. And PHZin falls. And now they have a chance to fall down the standings here quite substantially. This is really beginning to open up and become much more interesting. And let's not forget, 5th place again is Mareem, left by himself as well. So this is the second game now too where the Japan duo is struggling here.
Yeah, and you can see outside of zone, 270 above damage threshold, and this is exactly the plays that you have to make, especially on a team that's looming into the distance. Basil in a 1v2 situation, he tries to peek and take a shot, but 2 prime shotguns are better than 1. They take him down in a blink of an eye. Baka trying to carry that momentum from the early game, but only 62 above the damage threshold. That's something that is looming in the back of their mind, and they haven't even left Chrome Jam Junction all game long.
That is true. And they have King and Ed, some of the regional dangerous fighters right there. We saw what Ed can do. He took out 2 of EU's finest by himself inside the storm while being pressured. Snacky returns a huge favor onto Duke there, so down he goes as Clix managed to find a trade too. So for them, it's still a tough situation, an even worse story unfolding here as Merstash and Malibuka are being lobby focused by Clix on the rotate now. So all around, tough spot to be in here. Merstash barely holds on and survives in, so no knock there. That could be the difference maker.
Thomas got 2 on the Hen and Vortex, not just 1. You see Fabs trying to reunite with Snacky. Malibuka and Merstash also in the distance. For them, that shield keg was absolutely needed, especially since they're only 67 above the damage threshold.
Oh, but I was just going to say, soon we might have to turn our focus to Peppo and Runa. They find Clix right above Snacky and through. Cammy and Seti put the shield bubble on the boat, and they are gone with a clean rotate right up the river. That is just a 500 head play. Look at the play right here. We absolutely love to see these crazy strategies play out, and there's a reason they are up at the top.
This is just outside of the box thinking at its finest. That is the freest rotation I think we'll see all weekend long. And they're only 85 below the damage threshold. That's not much at all.
No, they're below. They don't have heals. This is a very tough spot to be in for Cammy and Seti as they have a true chance to once again break away with a big lead here. But they are, you know, fighting with one hand tied behind their back.
Peterbot, shields get dropped. Clown finally goes down. Huge siphon for Peterbot. As just, like I just said, his shield just got dropped. Now you're looking at a short pad from Revscar trying to make it into zone. As soon as Peterbot hears that, he might try to recycle it, but nobody wants to leave this one just yet. 195 above. Peterbot ready for any challenge. Revscar goes up and over around each other, and it does look like this might be the moment. They got blessed. Now they're going to try and disengage.
Now, when it comes down to N8 East players that know how to fight, Peterbot is one of the few that represent by doing the work, not the talking. He is one of our most leading elimination leaders on the NA East region in general. So for Revscar to make the rotate out is an excellent decision there, but he is met with Pamsu and Fatch firing directly inside. But we jump on over to Cammy and Seti. The story continues here. They need a tag. They need more than that. Kanata opens the box. They look to fire back. Nothing comes out of it. And now they say, hey, we got to get to these boxes. Maybe it's more important. Maybe it'll be easier to box fight. But Cammy falls to Bad Sniper. And it's up to Seti to do it all. Can he get pretty much a full elim worth of damage here? Oh, no.
I didn't mean to curse him. Luckily for him, no more. He instantly goes down. I was going to talk about the launch pads, the push game to shove, but now Joe and Z Andy found 2 more launch pads and so much room to work with as Malibuka and Merstash. 2 eliminations. No shield to work with. I'd say not much, but none at all to work with. As Fast gets one on the swag as well. Malabuka and Mustache, they are in the most congested side of the map right now. They're going to need everything they got to try to stay alive, other than that launch pad. But with no shields on Mustache, that could be a risky play.
And what's crazy, remember, Cammy and Seti falling. They were in first place, 11-point lead over Trippern and Thomas. Third place of PHN and Kitos. We already talked about them just being completely devastated there. And here's the updated standing. Thomas, HD, and Trippern have a chance to catch up. Smite and Larson, Vino and Queasy as well. This is such a competitive FNCS Invitational. If we've ever seen one, especially after just 4 games, and now the 5th is unfolding before our eyes.
Top of the leaderboard, stacked like pancakes in a Waffle House right now. It's Thomas and Trippern, 2 eliminations at the edge of zone. And right now, there's so many teams on the outskirts. They can continue to peek and just put so much pressure on the lobby before they figure out what's next. The choices are definitely there. You see Acorn and Edgy, they're sitting clean. They found themselves a nice spot. Belusi and Hydro as well. Not too many teams on this side of the map, and this is what we would call the slower side, to where you don't have too much to worry about, especially if you're Acorn and Edgy and you're 676 above the damage threshold. That allows you that flexibility, that allows you options to pick and choose. Do you want to go ahead and put pressure on another team? Do you want to rotate around the map? The choice is now theirs. But a team that might not have those same choices is Malabuka and Mustache. They're only 105 above. We talked about the lack of resources that they have. So they're going to have to figure out something here. And you know as well as I do, they're going to have to look for a siphon. They're going to have to look for a refresh. They're going to have to look for a team to catch off guard and really pounce on them.
Let's see if they can do just that. 87 damage. It's good, but it's not good enough. Potentially here, 6 players are the difference between this surge continuing to stay online and turning off. Here it is, 3 seconds before the reveal. They're going to take the fight against Alex and Bailey. Alex and Bailey are multi-FNCS champions of the OCE region. Mustache and Malabuka looking to step up to this huge challenge here. Gotta be careful though, this is what they love to do! And a great tag here. This is why Mustache and Malabuka are some of the best. The Chrome Shield comes down though, and that'll buy them some time.
And right now, Storm Surge taking out a lot of these teams. If you get your shields cracked, they will hear it and they will go. As Malabuka or Mustache, they know the position that they're in. It's all or nothing because you can't make it too much farther with the resources that you have. Alex goes down. Or takes down Threat. Mustache and Malabuka, they're going to be the ones that get all the loot because of it. As Baka and Almond trying to stay alive, they're trying to protect what's theirs.
And they do just that. They get a little bit for their efforts, not much, but they are alive, and they've done some damage. They've defended the territory, and everyone backs up. Let's take a wider look here. Fadil has to give up the high ground. Everyone's making a rotate. Thomas, HD, and Trippern still a launch pad in the bag as they get to half and half out. This is excellent. Such an excellent position to be in. Switches over to the hard material, and they fortify up and branch out. What? And a play here just to even play for territory to open up the domain right now.
Malabuka and Mustache met their demise. Both King and Hellfire getting an elimination each, taking out one of EU's exciting teams is Queasy and Vino. Another exciting team coming in with all the momentum in the world, winning an EU Elite Cup, winning the NA East Elite Cup Finals back-to-back in the same day. Great. If that's not what you call preparation, I don't know what is.
And they're showing us why they're up at the top right now. And they are taking advantage. A northwest zone is excellent for a team like Vino and Queasy. They find Anas down low. That's going to be their 4th elim. Pink does not stand a chance if they decide to focus together, but it's more important for them to maintain the position right now. And this zone's going far. It's going to cut back towards Acorn and Edgy side. Scented and Cold have more of a dominant rotate here, and this is all shaping out to be a great game.
Look at that mountain. They got to go down the hill and then back up the hill. This is literally going to be a roller coaster ride of an end game. And if you don't have a launch pad, if you don't have chrome splashes, I wish you best of luck.
Well, we do know if you do, Cold and Scented go ahead and put the chrome splashes to the use here, to the test. And they jump right over that bush and into it. It's going to be a great spot. Meanwhile, everyone else takes to the high ground. Peppo finds an Elim, and Yumi is going to fall there too. He is the victim of the loot that we are watching get sniped up by Larson and Smite here.
You know, they called it though. They called it's going to start at the drop spot of Grim Gables. They take out Muzz and Looter, and they keep things going. Repscar peaks at the right time, finds the shots on the Cool. Another elimination going over. This could be a moment for him to remember for the rest of his days if he can continue to clutch up big like that as Joe and Z-Andy trying to be the first team on the day to win 2 victory royales.
And Smite and Larson are still in the game as well. Vino and Queasy have the high ground. Queasy manages to crank his way on up, and that is what you call a well-executed launch pad play there to keep them in the run here, but there's still more points that they have to close out. Here goes Smite. He's going to go for the pad play. Z-Andy and Joe get to the front side of zone now, and they rotate their way on out as well. And this is coming back off, way off the height. This is such a tough and just honestly difficult zone to play.
The Epic Games Fortnite roller coaster continues yet again.
Gosh.
Down the mountain, up the mountain. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a loop-de-loop come through as Repscar's trying to catch one off guard, but it's he who gets caught off guard by Z-Andy.
And just like that, he is down and out. Trippin and Thomas HD, we get to get a little temperature check with them. They are on the mid-ground, right above Sensitive and Cold. Smite loses Larson on the rotate, and he is now left by himself. Just places away from 10th here. Can he hold on? Peppo does enough, but not enough to beat Vortexter. Here's Onward and Baka. They have made such an excellent use of surviving their drop spot. Joe finds Noah. Down he goes, and Joe's hurt. 20 HP. This is not looking good.
Quick moving, quick thinking, trying to get out, but he gets caught at the tail end as Queasy and Vino. Zone after zone after zone. No matter where this roller coaster went, they stayed on top. Baka loses Onward, but he takes down Fast. Back up against the wall. He gets 2. Baka gets 2. 7 eliminations for the NA West
And he
duo.
has shown you how good he is and why he deserves to be here, even when he is counted out. He is showing up, but hold up. Scented, Cold now, back in the mix here. They already have done one, but can they get another? But Grolls and Rifty are showing they finally have an end game, and they are making big do with it. There's a 3rd Elim, 30 points already earned in this round. Baka fights back, but Colt and Scented get to get all that sweet loot.
Yep, towards the low ground, along with Thomas HD and Trippin. This one is going to get messy for everybody that's stuck down low. But for Vino and Queasy, they have the elevation. They have a huge advantage. Plenty of mats to work with. That's a recipe for success. But it's up to Cold and Scented and a few other teams to try to take down the high ground team.
And don't forget, Trippin and Thomas, who had a 10-point lead, is still here as well. Thomas HD wants more though. Down goes Grolls, and they are closing the gap. But he loses his teammate. He's gonna fall. Top 3 now. Scented is still in the mix here, in the conversation, but no build. Big shot comes in from up top. And all of a sudden now, it is looking so dicey. Queasy is just waiting.
Waiting for that perfect opportunity. They have the high ground. They drop down low. The game is theirs after they take down Bevy. That is game number 5, sealed up by Vino and Queasy.
And the biggest game we've seen so far in terms of elims, coupled with a victory royale. Huge 11-piece pickup right there for Vino and Queasy. Now think back to that interview when they sat there, Vino very nonchalantly, hands behind his back. He said, "We are the best, undoubtedly."
As EU takes yet another game. Honestly, this was the hottest team coming in to the FNCS Invitational. NA East, EU wins. And in that reign as well, they won about like 5 games in a row, I think. That's impressive.
That is right. Vino and Queasy are coming off some of the hottest streaks we have ever seen, and they managed to maintain that momentum. Let's just go ahead and tune in and see what's going on in their minds.
Yes, that's right. I'm here. We got Game 5 winners, Queasy and Vino! Queasy, fantastic work there. Eliminations, an extraordinary end to game number 5.
Yeah.
What else is there to say?
What else is there to say? I mean, the competition has been great to you guys today. You've had unbelievable work thus far. Scored a lot of points in this competition. How much are you enjoying your time here as well?
A lot, to be fair. It's amazing. Like, the atmosphere and everything is just sick to be here.
Yeah, and we saw as well, Evino, we saw that obviously the storm moved up mountains, down again. How integral is resource material management in situations like that?
It's very important, but it's also great getting refreshes. Me and Queasy got good refreshes. We kept our mats alive. We used our splashes well. We played that game really well.
Now, you've got one game left today before we pull the curtain down on day number 1. You seem to be feeling confident. You seem very laid back. Has it been a competition you expected, or has there been other things at work here that you didn't expect coming into this?
The Asia team surprised me.
Yeah.
They've been doing really good. Brazil's been doing good. NE's not so good. But I think everyone's doing good, you know. And the competition's been good. No one's really been on high ground. And it's going well for us.
And you guys delivered the goods. One more time, give it up for Queasy and Vino, your Game 5 winners. Let's head back to Zeke.
Cool, calm, collected, and memes. That is also how I live my life sometimes, occasionally. Queasy and Vino, we've watched them come so close to the top several times now, right? Almost making it, taking high grounds at those pivotal moments, but it hasn't quite lined up perfectly. And now that it does, it's not even just the victory royale. It's also the 11 eliminations they put on the board.
Look, all day they've been trying to set themselves up for this match. We saw it in the beginning of this tournament today. I mean, they were going for high ground, they were going for the setup, but they just had these little mistakes that didn't permit them to get it. But now, they showed why they are one of the fan favorites coming into this tournament to take it home. The first duo to reach more than double-digit elims. They had 11 total eliminations, and it's what you love to see.
You know what? It doesn't happen by accident either. These guys have definitely seen some progression throughout today. We saw it in the previous game. We saw them go down to Surge. It wasn't ideal for them. This time, though, we saw them rotate all the way up towards those rifts, towards the top left, the very northwest side of the map, and they were aggressive. They were looking for those eliminations. Instead of sitting on those blimps, on those balloons at their drop spot, they were looking to be aggressive for Surge, and it paid off. We saw them take high in that 50-50 zone. Of course, I think Queasy had about, I don't even know how many mats, he had about 1,000 materials going into that second moving as well, so he's looking great.
Absolutely. We also have Kelly, who is standing by to chat with some of our players. Kelly, over to you.
Joining me right now, I am with Thomas and Tripper and the team that is currently in second place on our leaderboard right now. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. We just need to keep on going, being consistent, and we'll make it.
Yeah, obviously consistency is the name of the game right now. You guys had a great Game 5, but how do you make that into a VR?
I don't know, like, we played mid ground most of the game. I think we should like either like commit it to high ground or low ground to like win the game, but like we're just playing for consistency, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and obviously consistency is working for you guys. You're doing a great job on the leaderboard. Good luck in the Game 6. Guys, let's head on back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Shout outs to Thomas HG and Tripper, and they are currently holding strong in second place. And if you look at that little dash, that means they've not gone anywhere, right? And I do want to highlight them for just a single moment. 2 games back, we watched Malabuka go on an absolute tear. But then Tripper said, nah, son, this is my lobby, take a seat. And that's how they are still holding strong. We have to kind of talk about the top 10 here, right? With only a single game left to go, we're setting ourselves up for tomorrow, right? And Thomas, 18, Tripper, they're looking real good.
I mean, they're looking more than good, Zeke. Queasy and his duo partner were in the first place spot, but second place, that's Thomas Tripper, and they are playing so well. Just looking at their highlights here, they're setting themselves up for the late game, and just now with the interview with Kelly, you saw they're still always thinking, right? What can change? What can we adapt to? How can we play better? How can we take home that trophy?
Yeah, and these are 2 very, very talented solo players. For those that don't know the region very well, of course, Trippin and Thomas. Those guys are incredible solo players. We've seen solo clutch after solo clutch from both of them in the Elite Cups, in the Cash Cups leading before that, and they are just a dynamic duo when things go well. Sometimes things can be a little bit difficult for them when they do get split up. You know, they have to rely on the other person. We've seen that a little bit throughout the Elite Cups this season, but they're bringing it all together now, and oh boy, is it looking good.
I also want to talk about Smite and Larson. This is a duo coming from NA East, right? And they have 5 total FNCS Finals appearances together. Now, it's a lot, but it's also the fewest out of any NA East duo competing here today, but that is not showing because even though they have the fewest FNCS Finals appearances, they're in the top 3 right now in this event.
That's right. Everyone currently is looking, right, to just try and say, okay, look, the first 6 games, we just want a strong footing as we go into those next 6 games tomorrow. I guarantee you there's strategies, little things that these players are holding on to for those last 6 games. I do want to turn our attention back to the standings. We continue to kind of go top to bottom here, Mini Miner. Obviously, Queasy and Vino, massive, right, to now jump up into first place, up by 5 spots after that game. If it happens again, we could be in trouble.
We could be in trouble, and I think the rest of the lobby could be in trouble as well, because you don't want Queasy and Vino to be playing as good as they are. It all sort of form together for them in that final game that we just saw right there. So if they're on form, they can definitely make a push for this one.
Yep, that's right. Kelly, you are standing by with some more players. Let's hear it.
That is right. I am joined here by Ed and King, our Brazilian region players right now. You can already hear the audience going crazy for you guys. Ed, I know that you recently got announced that you are represented by Team Liquid. How are you feeling about that?
Como você está se sentindo que você está sendo representado pelo time Liquid?
Eu me sinto incrível porque é time que eu sempre quis entrar e eu me sinto muito realizado de estar na Team Liquid.
I'm really excited to be in this team, and I always dreamed of being in it, so I'm really excited about it.
And I'm sure they're proud of you. Thank you so much. And then, of course, King, you've been around since the World Cup days. What is it like to be back here on the stage?
¿Cómo te sientes estar de vuelta acá?
Para português ou espanhol? Okay. A verdade é uma experiência incrível. Eu não tinha faz, sei lá, uns 3 anos quase. E voltar a jogar lá é uma experiência muito boa e vamos tentar dar o melhor.
I'm really incredibly excited to be here. I mean, it's been about 3 years, and I'm excited to be back.
I mean, I know that Argentina and Brazil are proud of you guys right now. Thank you for joining me with a quick interview, and let's head on back to the desk.
I don't know if you guys can pick up the hype coming through these mics from everyone who's repping Brazil, but every time you see King, you guys are allowed to get hyped. That's Quincy Yell up in that corner.
Yeah.
That's right. Ed and King sign. They're holding up the flag. You love to see it. Now, really quickly, as we gear up for game number 6, we come back to the standings, right? Currently, we see Cammy and Seti, they keep kind of ping-ponging, right? They have a really strong game, then they have a game where they, funnily, throw a shield bubble on a boat. One of the funniest things I think I've ever seen, but then can't transition that because of the shambles positioning. So what has kind of been happening?
I mean, it's Fortnite, right? It's hard to predict what's going to happen next because you have so many opponents changing their playstyle and adapting to the same match you're in. But knowing Candy and Seti, they know how to deal with it, right? They can adapt stronger than their opponents that they're facing against, and it's all about doing it in the most effective way possible.
Yeah, Storm Surge for this duo at the moment is kind of a little bit of a problem, of course. So many teams that I noticed they were fighting on the edge of zone. Not many teams are rotating in early on enough. And I think that makes Cammy and Seti run into a few issues, right? Because they're, of course, landing in a very central position. They rely on a lot of teams rotating into their domain to get their Storm Surge. Of course, we saw it with the boat rotate as well, the boat-tate as we call it. We can call it that. But yeah, they were looking strong. But of course, when you have that shield bubble, you can't shoot out as well. So they were lacking on the surge tags in that end game. And unfortunately, they didn't quite have the answers. They got a little bit desperate. Things didn't work out too well. Seti, I was hoping that he would solo clutch, but wouldn't quite happen.
That's right. And it's okay, right? It's fine. We're still sitting in top 5. Everything is okay. We've got 1 game left to go. With a single game left, what are some adaptations we're hoping to see? Because remember, this is it for the day, and then we have all night to VOD review. We go back to the hotel, we try and get more games in, we talk to our coaches, our duo mates, etc., and come back stronger tomorrow.
Look, you said it yourself, right? It's 1 game, but it's really 7 games left, right? This is the last game of the day and 6 more to be played out tomorrow. This last match is just about doing it the best you can, and when you're really going to be reviewing, studying, seeing what you can change up is going to be overnight for day 2.
Yeah, this is such an important game for these teams, right? Especially if you're looking for a little bit of a change-up. So for these teams that are thinking, you know what, let's try and change things up in day 2, this is the time. This is the time to test things out, because what better practice than the lobbies themselves? I mean, we saw it with Vico and Marine as well, of course, landing at the Tilted Towers area. They've sort of shifted their rotation over towards the reality tree. We saw them fighting out there, of course, Vico doing so well to close out those eliminations on the team that were landing there, and they're switching things up, and they're a prime example of a team that's thinking, you know what, things aren't quite working out at Tilted. As we know, it's a bit busy, so let's switch things up, let's go to the reality tree, and that's ultimately what these teams are hopefully going to be doing tonight.
That's right. A lot of these duos, man. Look at them. Look at the focus. They're waving to the camera, which we love and appreciate. But they are lasered in. They're thinking to themselves. They understand, right? With 1 game left, okay, what are the things we need to do to accomplish? What do we need to just kind of say, look, this is it. We left our mark, and we can walk away happy. I think for me, Zago and Meram, like this team that we saw pop off, they've kind of gone a little bit radio silent. What do we think's happening here?
I mean, we've seen them. They've been having a bit of trouble doing enough damage or even staying close together. I've seen 2 times now, one of them, Miriam was left alone, and the other is Zagu was left alone, having their duo partner get eliminated. So I'm not sure if it's because they're not playing together enough, if rotates have changed from their opponents and it's cutting them off while they're trying to get to zone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of possibilities, but they really have to focus on seeing what went wrong after those initial matches and see what they can change going into day 2.
They were trying, though. Of course, they made a really, really solid rotation up towards that Rifts area. They had just the best position on the map. And as you mentioned, Takata, they were a little bit split, right? They didn't quite execute it to perfection. Of course, Queasy and Veno, they decided, you know what, let's just take them out. We'll take this position, and ultimately that's what won them the game. But it's just a little bit of confidence, maybe a little bit dropping potentially with this duo. We saw it early on. The aggression was what made them so impressive. So that set them apart from the rest of the teams here, and that were really, we admired it, right? We admire their confidence in fighting. Maybe now they're thinking, actually, maybe we need to tone it down a little bit, when in fact, keep it up, you know, keep up that aggression, because if you're toning it down, you're not getting the Storm Surge tanks, you're not getting the damage that you need to make it to endgame. Guys, I want to see more of their aggression.
Yeah, and honestly, they're kind of reminding me of Queasy and Avino, right? Like, they're doing what Queasy and Avino are doing. You watch on the high ground, you're like, okay, Queasy's up there. If there's one person up there, they're tarping, they're not doing anything, and then suddenly there's someone knocking on your wall like, hi, it's me, Vino. I'm just going to pick up both of you. Thanks. Like, they are capable of this, so I'm not ready to count them out. I think, like you're saying, there's maybe just a couple things they need to shore up, and then they're going to get right back to it, right? Is there anybody else you guys are seeing that you're like, maybe I want to see more of this duo. I want to see more of that duo?
Look, I was looking at the birthday boy, right? Mr. Savage, who had an incredible solo clutch in a late game, but directly after got taken off out of the spawn, right? Baka and On1 eliminated both players there, but I kind of saw the flames in his eyes, right? Mr. Savage was getting ready. He was feeling good, and I'm hoping that he can come out on top in one of these next early games and show what he's really made of.
Yeah, he's got that experience, right, of in-person events, and you can sort of see it in the swagger, the way he plays. Like, you know what, I've been here before. I mean, look at Quick Flex, cool. I want to be like him. I don't know what it is. He's just so cool. And it's reflecting his gameplay as well. He is really taking the game to Storm. He is really popping off in the end game. He's performing, and he's not showing any signs of nerves. He's really just 2v1ing. We're seeing 2v1s. We're seeing some crazy clutches, and that's what you need. At this level, you need to have those individual pop-offs, because without it, you can't make your way to the top of the level.
And on screen right now, we've got Reet and Epic Whale. In case you didn't know, Epic Whale, a 6-time FNCS champion, paired up with Reet, who's on controller, representing the controller gang. This duo has actually been pretty quiet, right? Over in NA West, we've seen it's a much slower game overall and a slower meta. And now when we're trying to get way more aggressive, it feels like Reet and Epic Whale maybe need to kick it up too, slow.
I mean, I'm wondering what's happening, because I was watching this duo practice, right? In the player lounge, they were prepping themselves, getting ready for this tournament. And in the scrims, right, in the practice matches, they were 3, 4, even 5 elims in the mid game before the late game even started. They were playing aggressive, and they were doing it right against the opponents they're competing against today. So I'm wondering what happened, but we'll have to see if they adapt for day 2.
That's right. Really quickly, hanging out in the player lounge, we've got Adam Savage standing by.
You have indeed here, Zeke, but I am joined by the one and only Cease, everybody! Cease, we've talked so much about you in the past. You know, it's great to see you here at the competition. How has it been for you? One of our backup players this weekend. How great has it been to be around the crowd, the players? How much have you enjoyed this?
It's been a pleasure, man. I mean, being here back at another international LAN event, it's amazing. I mean, everyone said it so far. You've heard it on repeat all day, but it's such a great experience and feeling to be here.
What's it been like, the vibe with the players as well? Obviously, you had a chance to kind of spend some time with them. The player lounge is right behind us as well. What's on the DL? What's been the kind of vibes amongst the players from your perspective?
Cold-blooded. Man, these guys are locked in, especially some of these EU players. Headphones on, listening to music. Yeah. They don't play around.
No, they are focused. What does this mean for the community as well? A competition like this, like FNCS Invitational, it seems it's been massively well received.
Dude, I mean, we've been waiting for this to happen. I mean, obviously COVID delayed things so much since World Cup, but it's such a great time to experience, like, see all the fans and see the whole community, the whole competitive scene all together in one area. It's awesome.
It's really awesome. And you're awesome too.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. One more time, give it up for Cease, everybody! What legend. Let's go back.
Cease, one of just the coolest people I think I've ever met. Got to hang out with him a couple times over Media Day. Legitimately one of the coolest people, so thankful that he could be here. I want to set the stage here for us. Once again, we take a look at the top 10 coming into this game. Now, please don't try to freak out. Your Brazilian team in 10th place. PH did. Kitos right now sitting on a tiebreaker. Vortexers and Bevies.
Look, I want to talk about this duo, Bejatin Kitos. They have 25 FNCS Finals appearances. PHZin alone has 4 FNCS championships, and Kitos with 1 for a total of 5 together. This is a duo that dominates their region, and seeing them in top 10 internationally on the stage, it's really something you love to see.
Yeah, they're no slouches as well. I've been doing a little bit of voting, having a little look at how they play, and oh boy, are they aggressive. They're very, very confident in the way they go about things, and of course, in endgame as well, they're looking strong. What they often do is they rotate towards the front side of the first moving zone just to get ahead of all the other players, and that's why we're seeing them really making the most of their materials, right? They don't have to build, they don't have to make those tarps into the front side because they're already there. It just shows that there's different strategies that maybe we haven't seen too much of that are really on show today.
That's right. We saw him in 8th place there, Scented and Edgy. Once again, Edgy always hitting that 2nd place. Now, of course, 2nd place is still absolutely incredible, but he wants that 1st place. He wants to do it on a stage like this.
Look, but if he's able to keep getting 2nd places, and it's able to get them that trophy, I think it's okay, right? As long as you're able to consistently get those points, make your way up the leaderboard, it's what you want to see.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, here in Raleigh, North Carolina, y'all need to make some noise because this is the last game here of the day. This is game number 6 of the FNCS Invitational. Let's run it one more time. Here we go. Game number 6 is just moments away, and we get to close out this crazy day 1.
Yeah, and you're already seeing from game number 1 all the way till here, it is action-packed, and that action continues to improve, and it continues to get better each and every game that we watch.
That's right, and listen, Fortnite is at its best when we get to see everyone go head-to-head from all of our favorite regions, but listen up. There is only one more round in front of us, which means there's no time to lose out now if you want to be set up for day 2.
Yeah, and honestly, if you didn't necessarily have the best day, don't worry, because game number 6 is about to start. And if you are at the bottom half of that leaderboard, it's not always how you finish. Or it's not always how you start, it's how you finish. And a lot of these teams, they can finish strong.
Well, listen up. Let's give it up one more time for Game 6 here for our players as we start to load onto this battle bus. Here we go.
Different bus path this time around. And a good chance for an off-spawn Cloudy Condos. 5 games we didn't see too much. Or 4 games we didn't see too much, but in that 5th game, that's when we saw a lot of activity. And it helped a team like Malabuco and Mustache, who wasn't necessarily in the fight. They got the surge and they got out right away.
That's right. Well, listen up. As things start to get ready here and we settle in, looks like we're going to have to gear up this battle bus one more good time. And it wouldn't be a fun event if we didn't just give you a little bit more airtime for some of our favorite players while we were at it. So give us a moment here. Take a look at the focus of our players. Jacob, we have ourselves still one more game left today.
Yeah, and just take note, that victory royale there from Queasy was his 8th straight finals with a VR. That is impressive. That means Queasy and VRs go together in finals like peanut butter and jelly, spaghetti and meatballs. They are a duo, so you better watch out, Vino.
Not only that, Vino was talking about how NA East hasn't shown up. I was looking at that top 10. I saw 3 NA East teams on that top 10 leaderboard. But not only that, they are 3 contested NA East teams showing up. So there really has been some crazy performances and put-ups. But let's go and send on over to the analyst desk. Let's just continue to gear this thing.
Thank you guys so much. Sorry about that. We're making sure all of our players are on that battle bus and ready to go. We cannot miss anyone on this pivotal game here in game number 6, the last one on the day. Now, if you're just tuning in, welcome. This is the FNCS Invitational. You've missed a lot, but hey, we're happy you're here now, and there's a lot to talk about. Starting with Queasy and Vino, these guys have been absolutely running the EU region as of late. And now, after winning that last game, 11 eliminations, they are sitting pretty in first place.
I mean, they were the first duo to break the double-digit elim record at this tournament, right? Previously being 8 eliminations, but now 11 for this duo. I mean, they're playing very well.
Vino. Queasy and Vino, incredible. Well, let's talk about Vino, right?
Yes.
How good is this guy, right? We got 17 eliminations on the day today. That is the most of any individual player, and consistently, FNCS final after FNCS final, this guy is doing the most damage in the lobby. He is an incredible fragger. We can see it. 5,932 damage dealt. That's a lot of damage that he's outputting, and he's really helping. We saw it in that previous game. We saw the refreshes. He's helping them out so much, and when you have a high ground playstyle like they do, he's really putting on a show.
Yeah, and we've watched a lot of the moments, right, where, again, it's like Vino just says, oh, Queasy, you need me to go eliminate a threat? Yeah, man, I'm down. Like, let me just hop down there, get a bunch of refreshes, and bring all the stuff back, and then we're ready to go again. But I think, too, Vino has actually shown quite a bit of... he's evolved as a player, right? When Vino first hit the scene, he was just this like aggressive player. He's like, I want to W key every single person in my face. But now he understands, like, okay, this may not be the moment, but when that moment arrives, I promise you I will be knocking on your wall.
Look, not only having the strong mechanics, but also that strong mentality, it's what you need to be a top-tier professional player. But I want to see if any of these other duos are going to be able to contest the high ground as much as they have been doing, especially in day 2 with more time to adapt, right? We have duos like Alex and Bailey coming from OCE. I mean, at one point, I believe they had On Height in their name, right? Because of how much they like going for the high ground. So I'd like to see some more teams up there going for the clouds and seeing what they can really do.
But we mentioned it, right? Vino, his progression of play, I think his overall play style has developed so much, but it's also, he's got so much of a smarter player, right? He used to have his name as Tundra IGL. So he's not necessarily taking on the IGL role in this duo, but he has the brain to take it on.
That's right. Another duo sitting here in your top 10. It's Thomas HD and it's Tripper and Thomas HD. For those of you that have not followed the EU scene, if there is a sniper in the game, you might as well just rename that sniper to Thomas HD Sniper, because this guy does not miss, and if there's a sniper in his hands, he will find every single angle, even if it's a pixel on the screen, you're going to take max damage.
And it shows. He has the most damage dealt out of any player here today, and if there were snipers in competitive currently, I'm sure he'd not only have the most damage, but also the most elims with those headshot snipes we'd like to see him get.
Yeah, it's interesting, because of course, Thomas HD is widely regarded as the best sniper, and we got a chance to talk to him. Me and Vivid, we were behind the scenes, and we spoke to him. We were like, Thomas, are you sad about the removal of snipers? Do you think that it's bad? But he was like, no, I love it. I think it's great. So he's adapting his playstyle. Not only is he incredibly good with snipers, also when they're not in the game, it enables them to get so many more surge tags. Of course, you can overpeak. You don't have to worry about getting that 200 damage to the head, because you can overpeak, and you can see it right now. They're getting the surge tags early on. They're getting the mid-game rotations perfectly on point, and they're playing the mid-ground layers as well. They just bounce off each other so well.
And I'm curious to see what they're thinking about now, right? Being in that top 3 spot with just Queasy and Vino right above them, right? It's all about figuring out what they can do to overcome their opponents, right? The consistency they need tomorrow to get the trophy. What will they change? What can they do? Or maybe they'll just, keep playing the same, hope they make less mistakes, and that's all they have to do.
Yeah, I mean, we know Thomas HD is kind of one of those players that says, like, I have to be the best. And if I'm not the best, I will continue to grind until I am. You pair him up with Tripper, who's just mechanically insane. I mean, we've watched him shut down Malabuka, right? When he's in situations where he's by himself, he still finds points. He finds high placement. So it's cool to see these guys finally come together. They've been doing for like 3 seasons, 4 seasons since the beginning. I don't even know at this point.
I mean, that's another interesting fact to bring up, right? There's a lot of duos here that have been competing together. They're like brothers, right? They're like companions. And then we have other newly formed duos, right? King and Ed, first tournament competing together. And they kind of have that synergy disadvantage, right? That some of these other duos might have.
Yeah, it's definitely true, but it's not showing, of course. We can see them popping off every single time, particularly that Ed 1v2 clutch that we saw earlier on. I know the guys at the back there really, really liked that one. They were cheering a lot for that.
That's right, my friends. We're drawing ever closer. We're just counting heads, making sure everyone's on that bus, because once again, we don't want to leave anyone behind. We want to make sure everyone is here, ready to go. You can see it on their screens. They're getting prepared. And I just got to say, it's been an honor and a pleasure to be here with this amazing crowd here at the Raleigh Convention Center. You guys are just losing your minds, and that's what I love to see. That's right, that's right. We have 1 game left to go. And guess what? I'm getting word. It is that time. Game number 6 of the FNCS Invitational starts right now. Let's do it one more time here in Raleigh, North Carolina. It is game 6 of the FNCS Invitational. Jacob, we get to close out day 1 soon.
And this is going to be a huge closeout event 5 games, 5 different Victory Royale teams coming out on top, just going to show that it's honestly anyone's game at this point.
That's right, and we've seen so much new attempts and ways for this to all play out. We gave the players time to go ahead and think about how they want to strategize, but here it is. Let's see if it was all worth it. Game 6 is in front of us. Once again, let's make some noise for our players as they take board the battle bus.
And that time that you were talking about for preparation has run out. Everybody now taking their position on the map. We've seen wonders over towards Chrome Jam Junction. We've seen so many fights go down towards Fort Jonesy as well, but honestly, interesting enough, neither of them involved these 2 teams going at it off spawn.
Not only that, the coast has 2 teams as well, so there's so much going on in this area, and we've seen it play out a few times now, round after round, but this is a first take at Clix and Duke not necessarily being right on top of their opponents, Pink and Anas there. They've given each other some space, and this is, you know, honestly, last game vibes are here. It just makes sense. Everyone wants to take it slow and try to play this one out.
Yeah, that's respect to them, too, because they know the position that each of them are in. You know what I mean? If you go ahead and take that fight and it doesn't go well for either one of you, that's kind of throwing away that game. So they want to split the loot and try to get more on their path to the center of the zone. But just like very many games before, we're going to have a little bit of a northern zone, which looks like it bode well for Queasy and Vino yet again.
Can you believe Smite and Larson are in 3rd place being contested at the Grim Gables? What a way to play some Fortnite today for them. It looked like it was all over when you viewed the paper and you crunched the numbers, but they have really turned all that lemon into lemonade.
Yeah, I believe they lost game number 1, but I think that was the game 1 jitters of an international stage.
That's
the
right.
First in-person Fortnite event in quite a long time. They shake those off, and they're rising to the occasion. NA East, best hope right now to close out day number 1 with a top spot. You can see Vico over towards Reality Tree. Lost Bride pretty early, and that was Retake and Novice who also land over here.
Hey, listen, I'm from the Bronx. I know all about being scrappy. Vico and Moran are clawing their way out of the mud here, officially breaking back into top 20 with those 2 elims right there. That's a big point swing for them. It's going to mean all the difference. What's wild about these 2-day formats is anything can happen right now. We have seen teams just in this bubble area range jump all the way back up. You have to stay consistent. Larson and Smite get defended off of their drop effectively. They're pushed out by Muzz and Looter. So that fight will continue. We jump on over to Savage and iDrop versus Bakken on 1.
Not that 50-50 we saw before. This one's going to be a little bit prolonged, and I think that kind of sits a little bit better for iDrop and Mr. Savage, simply because iDrop knows this POI like the back of his hand. He knows exactly where to get the loot. He knows where a lot of the chests are. He knows every single thing, and he also knows any pathing in order to disengage in a lot of these fights, but it does look like the TSM duo, Epic Well, strikes first, taking down Scented.
That's a big elimination right there, as well as Scented and Cold are one of the few NA East teams inside of that top 10, and for them to fall to the hands of Epic Whale just around the Tilted Towers is definitely not a part of the plan. Marine finds Falconer in the feed there, but Peterbot and Jamper looking to continue their battle here. We talked about these contested coastal battles, and now we get to see it unfold for the first time from the beginning.
Going up against Jace and Basil. So this is going to be an interesting one, because sooner or later you cannot continue to go down. The chest is down there, and that's where Basil's at, and he's actually just trying to get out. He's trying to escape. You already know that he lost his teammate, trying to do wonders as a solo and finish off the day strong, because that's the thing. FNCS NA East Chapter 3 Season 3. After day 1, Commandment and Avery were in 9th place. Day number 2, they had the comeback for the Ages to take the top spot, as Peterbot takes the elimination, but flies high to the sky, just a little too high. The shots are coming in. He's finally able to land on his 2 feet and try to stabilize.
That's what Peterbot is known for. On1 and Baka, though, fight back here. The last time they won their drop, they turned that into a monstrous endgame, and now they're clawing back in. Savage already down. iDrop.
Can they do it? Baka
in the mix here. Actually, Savage is on the run right now.
Oh, he's going to be able to get out alive, but On1 and Baka want to chase him. There's so many other teams in the mix as well, including Brazil's very own King and Ed, who where they're at in the leaderboard right now, they want to start getting aggressive. They want to take the game into their own hands.
Ed and King here trying to do something big. We haven't quite seen them put up the numbers on showed yet. You can see right there, King attempts to hit some shots, but does fall slightly short. And now options in front of him. Does he go for the duo below? But no, instead he's going to go and hunt down the solo. This is by far the better play, but the reboot is starting to come out from Mr. Savage. Will he get eye drop in time? King arrives just there to maybe play spoiler.
But again, this fight over towards Cloudy, it's those same two teams, while Malibuca and Mustache are always trying to find an angle so that way they can get the damage they need for Storm Surge and try to get out alive. And I think Ed even found Peppo somewhere, but no, they're actually chasing down Mr. Savage, and they're going to clean that one up. That is huge.
And King get their first 2 eliminations onto Mr. Savage and eye drop here in game number 6. Huge deal for him right there. And lucky for us, we are hot on the replay. Take a look there, out the sky. Ed wastes no time. He says, King, you might have missed some shots before, but I got your back.
That was a huge outside-of-the-box play. They could have easily pushed Mr. Savage, got the elimination, and got 2 points. Done. Over with. Easy. They allowed Mr. Savage to get the reboot off, got the elimination on eye drop, got the elimination onto Mr. Savage, and got 4 points instead of 2.
That's right. Way to play big there, and they need it.
Big brain play.
Back to Larson and Smite. They could have left this battle, but they've won so many times already. They decide, hey, let's stick around, let's fight Muzz and Looter. Ooh, a big 86 on Looter as he tries to go on up. Smite was waiting with the side angle there. Larson now has just enough time to get back with Smite. They're going to be trading minis here. As you saw, Larson's inventory was definitely short. Here it is, that little exchange, the material count too.
And honestly, if you're Smite and Larson, though, winning every single one of these fights except for game number 1, you have no reason to leave. It's up to Muzz and Looter to try to change up their plan while you have a hot Larson and Smite on their heels. Zagu is going one-on-one with Hellfire. This is for a huge finish for Zagu because right now they've skidded just a little bit down low on the leaderboard, more than they would like.
And what's crazy about this is how the region plays. This is how Asia gets down. They will W key. They play aggressive, they play fast Fortnite. And although it has been a day of performance and endgames for Zagu and Marine, this is where he does best. Put him in a one-on-one, put him in a head-to-head, and look at how quick he is able to capitalize. No, shots come in from the distance. It's not looking good. He's gonna have to pause down here. He does have some white heals, but that will kill all the momentum, unfortunately. It's Commandment and Avery with a dual angle here.
And you can see where are this strategy, landing over towards Rave Cave. They're trying to go to the slower side of zone. They're trying to go as far north as possible, but they're gonna go east first before they make that happen, trying to clean up a quick elimination, or what they think could be a quick one at that, but the shots continue to come in. Storm doing work as well. It's only a matter of time as Hellfire is gonna be able to clean that one up.
Hellfire slides in and down goes Japan's best there. Zagu and Marine sent back to the lobby, back to the drawing board to rethink for day number 2 of the FNCS Invitational. That's how quickly things can change.
Yeah, Hen was already down. Now they're just trying to find the second half of that duo. Joe and Zandy, one of 5 teams to get a VR on the day. But Vico somehow took down Avery. They were waiting. They were trying to hunt down the team, and it was them who ended up getting hunted. But Joe and Zandy, they don't want to let this team out of their sight. They have at least 1 elimination against players from 6 different regions. That's the most of any duo, and that goes to show how adaptable they truly are.
That is right. Vortex is a solo. As we touched on, Hen is out the lobby. You can see the look of focus on his face here. He recognizes, oh, big read there. He finds a make it right in the nick of time. He should get it off with about 2 HP left. That's going to be a huge save for him. Meanwhile, Sensen and Cold now making their move. Like we said before, they have been somewhat contested, right? Their draw spot. Maybe not going head-to-head against Pars and Raze there, but possibly trading out some moves. You can see it kind of coming into effect here as the loadout's very much not quite where you want it to be.
And that's Acorn and Edgy sitting on top of the Blimp, being that nuisance as Cold and Sensen. They have to rotate right back in the way they came from. See if we can make it happen. They're actually taking some elevation right now. This could be huge.
Whoa. Very interesting for them to go up to high ground here. This is such a risk, right? But of course, we never really know. They want some of that loot. Look at that. They get to the vault. They steal some leftover loot. That's going to be a huge situation here. Meanwhile, Muzz and Looter. You get to see a replay here. Remember, this is up against Smite and Larson, and Muzz turns this around. Third place, Smite and Larson now effectively dropped.
Yeah, for them, though, you got to give them credit. 128 points on the day. They've done wonders. And now they get to sit back, relax, collect their thoughts, and plan for day number 2 while everybody else is kind of going through this minefield of chaos, which is game number 6. And like I said, from game number 1, where you have 95 players alive when Storm Surge activated, the lobby is now feeling themselves out. They're feeling a little bit more comfortable to try to attack in these moments. Tripper to Thomas sitting on top of the blimp, just trying to get the Storm Surge, so that way when they do find another rotation, eventually it's going to be their focus, where they don't have to go ahead and hunt the damage. They can go ahead and do exactly what they want when they want.
Let's take a look at Yumi and Cool here on the move. Some of our greats from NA West right now, they have really represented today.
They did.
They have found their moments.
I'm proud.
They've caught their highlights.
Panda's probably proud of the crowd, too.
Oh, yeah.
Cold and Sentin now changing their rotation yet again. Don't want to go through Acorn and Edgy anymore. They got the heals that they wanted out of the vault, and now they're trying to find another way around. And for them, they need scraps. They are in shambles right now, and there's another team right in front of them. They spotted them out, and that would have been a great sneak attempt coming out from Sentin and Cole, but now they have to think of plan B.
It's crazy. Cole gets caught out by Thomas HD. Thomas HD, Mr. 6,000 damage coming into game 6 here and adding to the chart here. Joe FN's going to be the victim of a few shots there, but not enough for Sentin to claw out of this tough situation he is in. Now, mind you, NA's third place Larson and Smite are down. Cold and Sentin were in 5th coming into this, and it's looking very, very grim now.
Yep, the only other NA East team in there is going to be Acorn and Edgy, who came into this game in 8th place, but in the distance, Sentin sees Fabs and Snack. He sees Joe and Z Andy trying to get his Storm Surge damage up while being in the storm without any heals, but luckily enough, his escape plan, you can already see it, it is going to be that launch pad.
He's playing a very dangerous game here. He's already been tagged for whites there. There it is, he doubles back now, protects himself as well. There's a med kit.
Okay.
He knew that.
Try to get Sentin's card, likely.
There it is. Okay, time to med off. He will have enough time. Will he play for the reboot is the true question. We'll find out soon. On the other side, Zeet and KBR are still alive right now. 39 above. They're looking pretty solid. Zeddy finds Jamper in the feed. Peterbot goes down too. So that's had to be an Eastern edge zone rotate that just did not go their way.
Yeah, and that south side of the zone right now is just going to become so congested. You're going to have to figure out another way to try to rotate around as Chicho's trying to find some damage. Barely gets above the damage threshold. Gets a knock on the Rapid in the distance as well. And you see some other shots coming through. They know that that player is under pressure. Now the lobby is now taking hands to try to take him out all together. Bevies is now joining the fray along with Vortexers as well. Andalix has his back up against the wall. He's trying to survive. And Alex and Bailey are also rotating in. It's going to be such a hard way for him to try to survive.
This is such a tough spot to be in right now as it's all going down. Our 10th plate PH Zen looks like he falls in the feed there too. It's looking extremely desperate now for Brazil right now in this last game. Here's Booga on the other side of Vanas and Pink's wall. They're gonna heal up. Eyes on Mirror and Booga, but no, they want to get out of here. This is a little too dicey for them now. Lopad's gonna get them right to the safe zone. Pretty decent. It's a great spot to be in right now. They're okay on the surge, but they could use a refresher here. Plenty of options up to be served as well. Hellfire looks like he found Avery. Hellfire was a solo in the zone way north as Commandment and Avery were pointing inwards, and look, Avery fully finished there. The surge possibly finishing the deal.
Yeah, that's not good. You can kind of see why they rotated out of Rave Cave, trying to third-party some of those fights, but they ended up getting snuck on, which probably turned their entire story around as Booga and Miro trying to get in towards the zone. Focus of the lobby begins. Can Booga try to survive? 43 HP and a dream. Miro's there to try to alleviate some of the pressure, and it does look like it's going to stop.
That was tough. Very, very close right there. Usually when that happens, it's all over, but luckily the teams decided, nah, it's the last game. I can't burn all my resources if I cannot pick up the loot, so everyone slows down. For Taste and Chapix, they are very much comfortable right now. No pressure on them, but there's a lot of players in this vicinity here. Movement, little scarce.
Now the Macwood over there, Pars and Rays surviving as well. Cammy and Seti trying to take that top spot back. You hear the analysts, they're having great games and then they're kind of having a little slip-ups here and there. But luckily for them, this is day number 1. As long as you keep it competitive, you'll be in the mix. And look at our top 4. Top 4 is all EU right now, Monster.
That is right. 21 points for Cammy and Seti to catch up to Vino and Queasy. But that top 3 is just European territory right now. Vino, Queasy, Thomas HD, Tripburn, and of course Cammy and Seti all fighting for that top 3 currently. It's what you expect. We've seen a lot of our community folk really put those 3 up in the standings and wait for them not to let down the fans, right?
I think Malabuka Mustache might be low on Storm Surge. Yet again, being one of the 3 teams over towards Cloudy Condos. Nobody really going at it off of spawn, but a team that doesn't have much to worry about. You saw them high at the top of the blip, Acorn and Edgy, almost 500 above. They're just picking and choosing their battles, trying to figure out what the right play is going to be.
And it does make you wonder, although Malabuka and Mustache are contested, being below the surges means that, hey, that first game was a wake-up call. We can't just go battle. Aqua and crew will just come in third party. But look at this. Fatch finds Malabuka there. That's a huge one. And now we get to see Ed and FaZe King's perspective here. King from Argentina, Ed from Brazil. Right here, right now, 2 elims already potentially going head-to-head against On1 in Baka. The young duos from NA West. No, the peak, the punishment. Down goes Baka.
Is this going to be able to get it, though? It doesn't look like in the minimap that they're going over. So, yeah, you are correct. He is going to get a second chance at life as On1 is placed in the top 10 in every FNCS final he has played in. Trying to put NA West on his back along with Yumi and Cool, Fabs and Snacky. So many top competitors in this tournament still, and this is only day number 1.
Jonathan Vidal, 120 below, make it 60 now. They do need a little bit more damage. It's going to continue to fluctuate. Vigo finds Baka, down goes On1 as well. Vigo just cleans that up. Meanwhile, Kanata and Macwood, they started off so hot, and now all of a sudden they are in a world of trouble here, surrounded by some of Europe's most dangerous here on this south side of the zone. But hey, they have time, they have plenty to work with here. It shouldn't get too sketchy just yet. If they can keep a low profile for a while, they'll survive to the next moving zone or the half in, half out reveal. Here's a look at 3rd, 4th, 5th. 6th and 7th are down, 5th is down.
Hey, that's a blessing for some and a curse for others. For the teams from 8th and below, this is their chance to really close the gap in the final game.
That's all of NA East out in Game 6.
That hurts just a little bit. Just a little bit, but still got Acorn and Edgy still alive. Catching one on to Joe. Janice is going to be left as a solo. As Video does get knocked in that moment. That's Taste and that's Chapix that are hot on the heels. But pressure is coming from all sides for a lot of these teams. And even Macwood and Kanata are trying to put some shots on to Tayson and Chapix. You see Janice trying to break through. He is that solo that we were looking at. Trying to survive. Vidal finally goes down. Janice still knocking on the door. Storm Surge taking him down, but Tayson gets the last laugh.
And in the end, it's going to mean 4 eliminations for Tayson and Chapix. They absolutely needed it. They were slipping so far behind, well outside that top 20 bubble. Way to make a hero's effort push in Game 6 to set yourself up for a good day 2, but they still have a long road in front of them. They have to close out this round. The zone is going to pull far northeast. It's on a little piece of a zone, so if you have that mountaintop just right there, you're going to be in a sound and strong position for Edgy and Acorn. They'd be some of the last to jump on over. And we said we want to see Epic Whale and Reed. They're just above sitting down, so this might be their game. But first, Vino and Queasy have to show us why they're in the lead.
They don't really have to do anything here. Look at the loot right now. They're on the edge of zone. They have some high ground. All these players flying through the sky. easy shots. You're just like serving it up on a silver platter for a team that has been playing this good, but only 7 damage below the threshold.
And let me tell you something, this is not bad for a team that lands north and then has this half in, half out pull north. It makes a big difference when you are already positioned there and this comes your way. Now they just have to worry about damage management and closing out this last game, but you can see Tripper and Thomas HD are there as well. They have that same story. They are very much close by. Here's our high ground kings. Reet, an epic whale, the 6X, and of course Reet, a multi-FNCS winner himself. Going head-to-head against Refsguard right now. They're starting to crank up, but Reet does not want to give it up, not just yet. He jumps down. This is what he does best, is take those fights, but no, plays a little smarter. He has to play for the end game.
And I saw Pink and Anas go down to Pars. He's finally starting to heat up. Tayson gets another one. Kanata as well. Refsguard as a solo stole Hideaway from the TSM duo. That is absolutely insane right now. But you got to take note of where they actually landed, though. They still landed at a high enough layer so they can take it back at a moment's notice.
Just need to evaluate the situation. No need to burn material this early. Smart play is the best play. Vino with a huge tag there. Shield crack there. That's going to go ahead and get him a little excited. But Acorn and Edgy now revealed themselves to his layer as well. He's not too happy about that one. You see him back up just a second there. Meanwhile, Refsguard on high ground by himself, just looking down here, enjoying the view. But 130 damage is what he needs. He gets 4 tags. That's great, but not enough. Here comes the big drop, and he hits it. Okay, he stays in the game.
Almost seeing his life flash before his eyes, just a few centimeters in the wrong direction. He goes down, he goes out, but Queasy and Vino are trying to go up. They're trying to take the game by storm, and they get it, Monster. They got the high ground for now.
But it's not for free. They do have a duo on their heels. Who is it? It's Refsguard, who tried to fight for it, but he is not going to be successful this time around. High ground can get you one thing that we know for sure, and that's amazing placement if you can ride it out. When you're a solo like that, that was an excellent attempt. But now, back into the heat of things. Seti, Cammy, 2 Elims, another end game. And their biggest threat, Tripper and Thomas HD is alive. Acorn and Edgy, NA East's last hope potentially in this lobby, still in the run.
Saw threats go down to the bottom half of the map. That's Trulex and Chicho take him down. Kanata falls as well. Ed's gonna get one. Queasy Vino trying to go ahead and put themselves outward so they can continue that damage. Seats a solo, stuck in the outside of zone. 4 floppers to work with. The Siphon comes through onto Ed. This is an opportunity for him to pick out placement points while being outside of the zone.
Not only that, Clicks is still alive too, but here's Tayson. Tayson's gonna fall inside the storm now. It's up to Acorn and Edgy, making their way out the outskirts here. Look at the clean rotate here from Acorn. He is just exceptional, but we get to jump into Duke. 200 HP, now down to 72, make it less than that. It's not looking good. From 0 to hero, he's trying to claw his way into this. They find a player on the edge. No Elim there. Duke has to fight back, and down he goes, and it is all over. And once again, we might be seeing our first team who is setting up for a back-to-back.
Back-to-back, that is going to leave them with all the confidence in the world to end day 1 and go into day 2. They have 10 eliminations on Fico from the low ground. He's trying to have a comeback for the ages to close out day number 1. Shots on the Tripper, a huge amount of damage. He drops him down as well, but goes down altogether. Valiant effort by Fico.
It is a worst-case scenario for Thomas HD because his biggest threat is on high ground, but Reet is fighting back. Reet takes down Queasy on height. He is turning this around and trying to turn this into potentially a solo game. Meanwhile, Thomas finds Watts. Thomas still alive, and Reet falls there in the end. Look at Thomas holding the low ground. Chicho's right next to him. Trulix hurts him too, but Vino has the grip of height. Acorn waiting on the side. Out of builds, he's gonna have to come down too. It's all over. The gas tank is empty. Down he goes. And now, off to Seti.
It's Cammy and Seti, the only duo left, and they find another one. Vino trying to put wonders. 1v2 situation. What can he do here to take home the big prize and end with back-to-back victory royales to end the day? But a team looking to take first place back. Cammy and Seti, and they try to steal it away by getting that VR to end game 6.
And they get the first game. They get the last game of day 1. What a story for Cammy and Seti, becoming Legends must be so proud right now of these players. They put in the hard work, they put in the effort, and wait to watch it pay off.
That is huge for them because they're not like a lot of these other teams who are consistently fighting to get to the top of the leaderboard. They play their play style through and through from the drop spot all the way to the end game. They're one of the few teams, time and time again, that has their own spot. They call it the Cammy split, and it works out every single season.
And now they get to take that victory lap to center stage where they will be greeted by Adam Savage for a quick update. And Adam, please tell me how they do it.
Right now, they're looking mighty fine. Give it up for Cammy and Seti! GG's, boys. 2 victory royales out of 6 games. A FNCS Invitational. That must feel amazing.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
It's really amazing. Talk us through, you saw there that we had Queasy and Vino on the high ground. We saw Queasy went down, Vino was solo. When you saw that happen, was there an opportunity for you guys to get your way in and win that game?
Yeah, but we didn't want to take the high ground because we wanted to get more kills on low ground. That's why we stayed low. And
Gotcha.
Yeah.
In terms of today and the 6 games, has it played out as you both thought coming into this, or have things been very different?
Like, we died 2 games to Surge, like, we planned everything differently, but it didn't went as we planned it.
We just adapted. I think we just adapted well, and going into tomorrow, we're going to be more confident and more prepared. So, yeah.
Talking of preparation for tomorrow, what do you do now? Do you go back and review VODs? Do you kind of work on strategy, or do you relax?
Like, I think relax and VOD review.
Tomorrow, a big day, 6 more games. Could Cammy and Seti go all the way and win FNCS Invitational?
Of course.
Of course they go. Give it up for Cammy and Seti! Your game 6 winners! Let's go back to Zeke and the gang. Jinquit.
I made this joke. Game 1 of the FNCS Invitational. Cammy and Seti are living their life on repeat right now. They've done this dance before, right? This happened at DreamHack. They win game 1, they win game 6, they stay on top. For Cammy and Seti, all of EU right now is thinking this is it. We are the best.
Look, EU is on top right now, but Cammy and Seti, they're gonna have a stressful night. It ended on a high note, it started on a high note, but with the history of Cammy and Seti, having 2 back-to-back good days is a curse that we haven't seen too often. So I'd be really happy to see them continue this momentum forward from this last match into day 2.
Yeah, and Seti said it himself, right? They're really, really adaptable. They're adapting very, very well, and that's what I like to see from this team. What I've noticed about the way that they play and the way that they sort of carry themselves, they don't get down after a bad game. You know, we saw, as they said, 2 bad games. Surge wasn't quite looking too good for them, but look at that. They come back. They make the changes that are required to bring them up in the leaderboard, and you can see it's working out.
Yeah, right now they're holding, right? They're not in that first place spot, and of course, as they talked about, they were eliminated 2 games to Surge, right? And they identified those issues, and now we see the correction in game 6 of Victory Royale, right? So, to your point, Okada, tomorrow they come back stronger. We can see them win it all.
Look, the tricky part is they did adapt very quickly and effectively in that last match. They had a difficult mid-section of the tournament, but the thing is now overnight, those duos that didn't have the best day 1 will also change. They'll also adapt, and maybe the adaptation that Cammy and Seti had for this last match won't be valid in day 2.
We will find out. Right now, we have Kelly standing by with the duo in first place. Kelly, take it away.
Everyone, I am joined by Vino and Queasy, our first place team out of day 1. All right, so this is a stat that was happening, I think, even before game 6 was going on, but you had the most solo eliminations with 17 elims. I'm sure that is even more now. How do you do it?
I'm the best player in the world.
I love it. I love the confidence. But how do you know when to go for the elimination and when to, like, step back?
It's nice having a balance. It's good having a balance. We have chugs, so a lot of the time when we're playing high ground, I can drop back and look for kills, especially when I have the Ranger shotgun because of the range on it.
and that's when you can at least get a lot more kills. And I used a Ranger shotgun really well the other game. I got a kill on the Asia team, Zagu, I think, and that led us to winning that game.
I mean, obviously, it's not just winning you the game, but it's also winning you the whole tournament right now. Queasy, after that VR in Game 5, to almost do it again in Game 6 as well. I mean, obviously, you're going into day 2 pretty confident.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the lobby is not that hard. I feel like we should have been way better than we are right now. We had like a hard choke in game 4 and 5, I think. Or no,
Wait, you got 4? The VR in game 5.
3 and 4. But yeah, other than that, feeling confident going tomorrow.
I mean, obviously, you guys are doing something right. You're in first place right now. Good luck in day 2, and thank you for joining me here for an interview. And we're going to head back on to the desk.
Thank you so much, Kelly. And this is just, like I talked about this earlier on in the day. Vino is a player who is constantly evolving. I just want to kind of consider how this could have gone differently, right, for Cammy and Seti. It was a 1v2 against Vino. And it's because Reet played spoiler and eliminated Queasy. In the same other universe I talked about, you know, this one earlier on in the show, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. In this other alternate universe, Queasy's still alive. And then we see a true 2v2 against Queasy and Vino versus Cammy and Seti. The way these guys have been playing, I think it would have gone to Queasy and Vino.
Look, we could have seen the back-to-back victory royale from Vino and Queasy, right? They had it all lined up. But I'm also, happy to see what we saw, right? When Cammy and Seti got the VR, it was the first VR from down in the ground, right? On the low ground. They managed to secure it. All the victory royales came from that high ground up above, so it was great to see a little change up. But that change up was because Queasy ended up going down and Vino was left in the 1v2.
Yeah, we saw it, right? We saw Queasy going down, but of course it opened the floodgates for the players down below to really just rack up eliminations, rack up the placements as well. And there was a few moments here I thought, well, you know what? We talked so highly of Vino, and you could tell by the interview, he's oozing with confidence. I could feel it from over here. He could clutch this, right? He could clutch this 1v2. Couldn't quite work out for him, though, although we've seen it do him so many times.
Yeah, and I don't want to take anything away from Seti and Cammy. They are phenomenal players, and they deserve that victory royale in that moment. I just want to see some good Fortnite, man. And in this alternate universe, we got to see a 2v2 against two of the greatest in the world. Now, I do want to take a moment. I'm getting word that none other than Adam Savage is sitting by with one of our duos currently in the top 10. It is Smite and Larson.
That is right. Thank you very much, Zeke. Smite and Larson, everybody! Bear in mind, Smite and Larson are an average size. I'm just an anomaly. I am massive. Guys, it's been an amazing day. 7th after the first 6 games. You must be feeling great. Was there a target prior to this after day 1 that you aimed for, and did you exceed expectations?
Well, we tried to end around 150. We didn't really reach that, but off spawn, we did way better than we thought we would, and it was amazing.
Talking about off spawn as well, obviously Muzz and Looter, Grim Gables, going head to head. Larson, how many of the 6 battles did you guys win?
We won 4 out of 6, but it should have been better. It should have been 6 though, but it's all good.
We saw your reaction as well. We loved seeing your reaction to some of the moments. You look like you're enjoying yourself and getting quite passive aggressive at the same time.
Yeah, I had to let them know that they're trash, and we're beating them every game tomorrow.
Okay, I like the fighting talk here as well. Smite, going into this evening as well, how do you guys prepare for day 2 tomorrow? Do you go and relax, or is it back to grinding this evening?
We're going to go over VOD, see what we did wrong, and fix it for tomorrow, and we're going to hopefully win every game.
Okay, everybody, Smite and Larson, thank you so much. Let's head to my man Vivid on the main stage.
And Trippin sneaking into that second place position here, and I want to check in, see how they were doing all spawn. Obviously they are landed over at Rave Cave alongside Commandment and Avery. How are they getting out of this so unscathed, right? Every single game you can see here, it's kind of this race to this balloon and mountain position over here, and this game Thomas, HD, and Trippin win that race. They instantly poise up on top of this balloon and on top of this mountain, and basically what this allows them to do is sit here for pretty much the rest of the game, and this is where they get a lot of their storm surge from, but it also allows them to control pretty much this entire high up on that higher ground. They can just fire down shots on anybody that decides to rotate through. So as you can see here, look at the map. There is not a single soul around them, and that's really, really good coming into the rotations that are going to happen for the end game. And then the balloon is awesome, right? Because it does provide you with that immense higher ground, but then they can also just use it for those rotations that I was just mentioning. Of course, that is not possible if they aren't allowed to control that much of an area. So well done for them. Coming into day number 2, I want to see more of that out of them. Now, Adam tosses to me. I'm going to toss it right back to him.
Thank you very much, my man. I'm with right now Thomas and Trippin, everyone. The dynamic Danes here. What a great day. We talked earlier on at the beginning of the show about this being potentially third time lucky for you guys, and so far second place, Thomas, after day one. Surely you guys are thrilled.
Yeah, I'm proud of Trippin and me. Like, we played a lot of really good today, and yeah, and hopefully we can do like even better tomorrow to take the win.
Absolutely. How do you improve on tomorrow? Was there anything today in your game that you thought could use improvement, or did you feel it went pretty solidly?
Our late games could have gone better. Like, we could have more kills. We had like 3 or 4 kills every game, I think. We I don't know. I feel like we played pretty average today, like from what we can play. So hopefully we pop off tomorrow again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We saw as well in that game 6, you managed to get high ground quite early. You managed to get storm surge tags as well. How important are those tags in situations like that where you can kind of maintain and hold fort up high?
We didn't really play high ground today, but like the surge tags are of course important. That's why he has me. Yeah.
Dare I say it, I'm going to ask you guys, do you think potentially you could be the favourites? You could win FNCS Invitational tomorrow. In second, Trippin, it's looking pretty good.
Maybe, we'll see.
Maybe we'll see. Guys, give it up for Trippin and Thomas HD! Love to see it. Let's head back to the desk. Over to you guys.
Thank you so much. That's crazy. Adam did an interview with Smite and Larson and said he was the anomaly. I guess there was 3 anomalies there. I'll see myself out. Don't worry about that. MDF, Jacob, before we say goodbye, we want to get your thoughts on the day.
It has been a great day indeed. Listen, I enjoyed every single moment of this awesome competition.
I've been entertained through and through from games 1 to game 6. It honestly exceeded my expectations.
And you know what? The player that stood out the most to me, the duo that stood out the most to me.
To us.
To us, for sure. It has to be Mareem and Zagu, representing for the Asia region, the Japanese powerhouse, the champions of the Asia region. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and honestly, could you even believe that this is their second FNCS finals together? They played together last season. They took home the Axe of Champions, and they're looking to do it here yet again. But no story would not come without its ups and downs. They had a good start to the day, not necessarily the best start in the end, but they're still exceeding my expectations. And if they can somehow come out on top with that same fire tomorrow, it'd be amazing.
And that's the interesting thing about the way this all played out. You had these first 3 games, they popped off, and they could have probably took that momentum, but then we hit that small break, right? Everyone gets to reset, reevaluate, and all of a sudden, it was a tougher back half. So tomorrow, they get the full day to reset. If they can kick things off and stay explosive, I think we'll be in for a great show.
Yep, but that's going to be it from us. You guys, thank you for enjoying this great day.
That's right.
Take it away.
Thank you so much, Jacob and MDF. Joining me right now, I have Mareem and Zago, the FNCS Chapter 3 Season 3 title winners right now. And I have to ask, how exactly did they achieve that Chapter 3 Season 3 win?
シーズン3の勝ちはどうやってできたんですか？
ビクトリーロイヤル、ハイグラウンドを取ってビクトリーロイヤルを4回したんで勝てました。はい。
We were able to do that because we were able to capture the high ground about 4 times, and that's why we were able to win it.
High ground always wins games, and I do want to ask, obviously the Invitational is a very big deal. What has your preparation and practice been like?
この大会はもう本当に貴重な機会でどのような練習をしてきたのかっていうのが聞きたいんです。
アジアとアジアサーバーとそのレベルが違うのでリプレイとか見ながら。
Zago, Mareem, I really appreciate it. And obviously, you guys started the day off.
You want me to translate that?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So, yeah, there's quite a big level difference in terms of the players on the Asian server. So we just tried to, reevaluate how we performed by revisiting the replays over and over again.
And obviously, you're going to be revisiting those replays today. What are you going to be doing to prepare for tomorrow?
今日のリプレイも見て明日までの、準備は何をすると思いますか？
そうですね。ダメだったところを改善して明日もっといいプレーできるように頑張りたいと思います。
So we're going to try and reevaluate what we did wrong so we can improve upon that and do our best to win tomorrow.
I would love to see it. Thank you guys so much again for joining me here for an interview, and we're going to head back on to the desk.
A fantastic interview there. And I just got to say, before we kind of wrap up the day, the thing that's impressed me the most is just how humble a lot of these players have been. Obviously, there's been quite a bit of smack talk, you know. Sure, this is competition. That's going to happen. But you can tell for a lot of these players when they are kind of talking about their gameplay, what they want to improve on, there is that level of respect. Like, look, I am trying to be the best at this, and I'm aware that I'm not yet. I got to do a couple things, and then I'll be there. And I think that's kind of my key takeaway.
It's an understandable reserve celebration, though, from the players, because you have to keep in mind, this is only day one. The first 6 games, we might have found a conclusion for our top 10 leaderboard today, but tomorrow could be a different story altogether. A lot of these players have already talked about the fact they want to basically run it back with the VOD reviews, see where they can try and correct some of the mistakes or just moments that didn't necessarily go their way earlier on. But I do have to give it to EU. They kind of ruined the pattern for today, because we had, for every single game today, EU, NA, EU, NA, and then EU, EU for the Victory Royale finishes.
Look, they did a great job, but I'm also impressed on how every region performed, right? 7 regions competing today, and we saw some nice showings from Asia, from Middle East, from Brazil, and just looking at the top 20 of that leaderboard there, I saw multiple regions scattered all over, and with 6 more matches to be played out tomorrow, anything is still possible.
It really is, and we saw a few of our Titan teams as well, a little bit lower down than we would have expected. Maybe Malibuca and Mustache, one of them, Tayson and Chapix, of course, as well, not quite having the best day. And I think it just shows that although we've seen these teams popping off in their own regions, when we're on an international stage like this, anything can happen. Although Tayson and Chapix, they're so decorated in the EU region, when you throw a few spanners in the works from different regions with different playstyles, different metas, things can really go south.
And it's okay, right? We have tonight to reset, come back even stronger tomorrow. Now, Kelly is standing by with one of our more wholesome duos. It's Pamsto and Fatch.
Hey guys, I am indeed joined by Pamsto and Fatch, and I just wanted you to talk a little bit about your drop spot. What was the decision behind it?
We got pretty lucky with zones. We were really a lot of node zones today, and it's kind of hard for search for us because everybody just they go away from Bugle, and that's where we sit usually. So we had to find new strategies, but we managed to work our way around it pretty well.
Yeah, obviously adaptation is the name of the game after day one. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. 10, I think it's a really good place if we keep going tomorrow.
So any changes that you're going to be making in your playstyle for tomorrow, and how are you going to be preparing tonight?
Probably just voting with our coach, just watching the game, seeing how teams play, and maybe be a bit more aggressive tomorrow.
So aggressive obviously is a double-edged sword. You can get those eliminations, but you can also be taken down. How do you know when the right time is to strike?
It's very hard, but the more you play the game, the more you're going to have a good mindset on when to kill someone. But yeah.
Thank you guys so much for this quick interview, and obviously good luck tomorrow, guys. Let's head on back to the desk.
Shout-outs once again to the players for just giving us a moment of their time, right? Hearing that insight from them. But that's pretty much it for us from today. Now, don't forget, we have another 6 games tomorrow. So before we say goodbye, any last words, Mini Miner?
So many, but so little time, right? But we've had an incredible day today. We've had day number 1 of the FNCS Invitational. It has been so much fun to see all of these different teams popping off. We've seen high eliminations. Vico in that final game, 10 eliminations on his own, just to highlight one. It's just been crazy, and I'm excited to see what changes in day 2.
There's really nothing like it, right? An international event to this caliber, we haven't had it in years. The emotion from the crowd, the expressions of the players, the excitement from the solo clutches, and the roaring you hear from the audience. It's really something that's unique, and it's got a special place in my heart, and it feels amazing to live it once again.
I'm just ready for day 2 already. I kind of wish it could just be tomorrow already.
Well, we don't have to wait all that much longer. Fortnite fans, we love y'all so much. Remember, tomorrow, coming back at you, 6 games, 1 incredible trophy, all live from Raleigh, North Carolina. We love you. Keep yourself safe. And as always, we'll see you on that battle bus. Beep, beep.